at a polling place as racist. Republicans, as usual, pandered to people that hate them, and now they're in deep trouble. This is Commentary on the News with Mike Dermanuel Jr. for News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Your parking lot is the welcome mat to your business. If your parking lot looks old, cracked, has potholes, and you can't see the parking stalls anymore, call R. Mark Richard. They specialize in parking lot improvements, seal coating, crack filling, slurry sealing, patching, and parking lot striping. They will resurface your parking lot to look brand new for pennies on the dollar of replacing it. R. Mark Richard has highly experienced technicians to do the job right the first time. Call 559-592-9800 or go to rmarkrichard.com and put the welcome back in your parking lot.
Terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Terms and conditions apply. Visit ISSA online for details.
Hey, how'd you like to get paid to work out? Yes, I said get paid to work out. Now you can with ISSA, the global leader in personal fitness certification. If you're interested in a money-making career in fitness as a personal trainer, now is your time because ISSA is guaranteeing you will get a job. That's right. There's a huge demand for certified personal trainers right now. So once you get ISSA certified, they guarantee you will get a job. Just text CHAMP to 323232 now to get started for free. You do everything at your own pace and 100% online. Live your life on your terms. Get certified and train like you want, full-time, at a gym, at home, or as a side hustle, whatever works for you. Don't wait another day to start your career in fitness. Get certified and start making money fast, guaranteed. Just text CHAMP to 323232 right now to get started with your ISSA certification for free. Text the word CHAMP to 323232.
Fed up with your water softener and its time-consuming upkeep? Tired of undrinkable water? A LifeSource whole house water system is your solution. LifeSource reduces hard water problems like softeners, but with LifeSource you get more. LifeSource reduces chemicals and contaminants for great water from all faucets, and there's no maintenance. For a limited time, LifeSource will pay your sales tax. Yes, zero sales tax. Call 559-330-1850 or lifesourcewater.com. LifeSource, taste and feel the difference.
Hey, you got a tickle in your schnoz? Call Dr. Boz. Click BozAllergy.com. Boz, B-A-Z. BozAllergy.com.
News Talk, 580 AM, 105.9 FM, KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station.
KMJ. Sunny and 61 at Radio City. It's 2 o'clock. I'm Liz Kern in the KMJ newsroom. An arrest has been made after a 13-year-old boy was shot in Reedley on Tuesday. Police say it happened around 12:30 at an apartment complex by Cypress and Haney Avenues. They're calling it a gang-related shooting. The teen was taken to a local hospital, shot in his lower body. Police say 4 hours later, they identified and arrested 2 suspects yesterday afternoon. A 17-year-old who is, they say, the gunman, and 22-year-old Andy Garcia, who police say is on parole. The suspect vehicle has also been recovered. It took several years of court fights, but the House Tax Committee now has former President Donald Trump's tax returns. ABC's Andy Field has the latest from Washington.
Former President Trump ran out of appeals when the Supreme Court ordered the Treasury Department last week to hand over his presidential tax returns. The House Ways and Means Committee insisted it was a routine audit review that they've done with all recent presidents. Only Mr. Trump refused. Democrats in charge now only have a few weeks till Republicans take control and possibly shut down that review. The committee not saying if it will publicly release those returns.
The House voted today to stop a potential strike by railroad workers.
On this vote, the yeas are 290, the nays are 137. The joint resolution is passed.
The House also passed a measure that would give workers 7 sick days. Both bills now go to the Senate. Valley House lawmakers were voting to avoid the rail shutdown. KMJ's Ag Director Don York has more.
Valley Congressman Jim Costa votes on legislation to prevent a railroad strike. In a news release, Costa supports a tentative agreement between the rail companies and freight unions and for railroad workers to have 7 days of paid sick leave. Costa says the legislation prevents disruptions to the supply chain, which is so important to the Valley's economic well-being. And Valley Congressman David Valadeo also votes to support the tentative agreement between the unions and management. Valadeo fears that a rail shutdown would be a disaster for the local economy and national security. Don York, KMJ News.
Longtime Fleetwood Mac singer, songwriter, and keyboardist Christine McVie has died. We get more from ABC's Jason Nathanson.
Christine McVie was a key ingredient in the Fleetwood Mac stew that propelled the band to superstardom in the 70s and 80s. The voice behind many of the band's hits and the writer of many more. McVie didn't get the attention that some of her more flamboyant bandmates like Stevie Nicks got, but her contribution to Fleetwood Mac's success is undeniable. McVie's family says in a statement that she passed away Wednesday morning following a short illness. Christine McVie was 79. Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Hollywood.
On Wall Street, the Dow ended gaining 737 points, closing at 34,589. The S&P 500 added 122 points. NASDAQ gained 484. Right now, sunny, 61 at Radio City. Here's Fox 26's Christina Lopez with our Wednesday weather.
Happy Wednesday afternoon to you. A chilly start to the day with a freeze warning earlier in the morning. Expect dry to mild conditions today ahead of a winter storm set to arrive on Thursday, bringing widespread valley rain and mountain snow. Right here in the Fresno area, sunny skies with a high near 61 degrees and calm winds. Expect a low of 44 degrees tonight. At the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Christina Lopez. For KMJ News, travel safe.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Liz Kern, News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Thanks, Liz. And on the roads right now, we have in Fresno, South Clovis Avenue and East Clarkson, an injury accident there. Lots of personnel arriving on the scene. Also in Madera, southbound 99 at Avenue 18.5, got a non-injury accident. And Dinuba on Road 74, Avenue 400. Traffic blocked from the west on Avenue 400. Next update, 217. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Survivors of clergy child sexual abuse in California have limited time to seek justice. Survivors have until December 31st, 2022 to take legal action. Contact Jeff Anderson and Associates for a confidential conversation. Call us at 1-800-ITS-TIME. 2011 San Vicente Boulevard, Suite 700, Los Angeles, California. Attorney Advertising.
Now, the Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi. Philip Teresi. Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now on News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
206, it's News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Good afternoon and welcome to the Wednesday installment of your Afternoon Drive. Phone numbers here are 490-5858 and toll-free 800-776-5858. Find us on social media at Drive KMJ and watch us live on YouTube, Facebook Live, or Twitch.tv, also at Drive KMJ. Joshua Weekly stands by to screen your calls this afternoon as we bring you the Daily Buzz question found at KMJNow.com. The Daily Buzz question is sponsored by the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Centers, coming on the heels of another warning about scams and fraud as the Golden State inflation relief money goes out. The question is, have you ever been the victim of a scam or fraud? You can answer that buzz question at KMJNow.com. Again, it's sponsored by the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Centers. So far, I've been pretty fortunate. I have not been caught by a scammer. I've gotten calls from them. Most recently, I had a woman calling me from a number that was based out of Nashville, which means nothing anymore because between spoofing and VoIP services, these people can be calling from anywhere on the planet and can appear to be calling from anywhere. And she called and she told me she was with PG&E and was getting into a litany about my outstanding bill that doesn't exist because I pay my bill every month when I get it. And I hit the record button on my phone. And the record function, if you've never used Google Voice, you can hit a key combination and it will start recording the call into your Google Voice account. But in order to be compliant with the law, when you'd hit record, an automated voice pops on the line and says, "This call is now being recorded." And as soon as the automated voice popped up and said this call was now being recorded, she hung up. Can you imagine? My grandmother got a call many, many years ago now from a young man on the phone. And Grandma Teresi had 2 grandsons, me and my brother. Grandma and I talked every week, just about. She knew the sound of my voice. She also knew my little brother's voice. There wasn't a lot to remember. There's 2 of us. But this guy calls the house. She answers the phone. And Grandma Teresi sounded like an old lady. And this guy immediately, "Hey, Grandma, it's your favorite grandson." Grandma says, "Adam?" And the guy says, "Yeah, it's Adam." Grandma Teresi says, "I don't know an Adam. Don't call here," and hangs up. And by the way, my brother's name is Matthew, so not even close to Adam between the 2 of us. She was so pleased with herself. She was so proud. She immediately called me to tell me what she had done. So let us know, kmjnow.com. Have you been caught up by any of these scammers? Have you had even a moment of doubt? Or have you been able to weed out those bad actors from legitimate contact from folks with whom you have real business? Again, it's brought to you by the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Centers. In just a couple of minutes, we're going to talk with Tony Body from the Fresno County Sheriff's Office. We're checking in to see if there are any updates on the search for a missing 86-year-old man. Ulysses Carr is his name. He was last seen around 8 a.m. on November 25th. His dog came home the next morning, but he has not. Ulysses is sadly been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. He's a black male, 5'6", 160 pounds with gray hair and brown eyes. Last seen in a black hoodie, blue jeans, and gray Crocs. And we'll talk with Tony Body, find out if there are any new details, and if you've seen him or if you think you have seen him. We're going to ask you to call the Fresno County Sheriff's Office, 600-3111, 600-3111. That'll put you right through to dispatch so they can get, hopefully, somebody out there to find him, because this has been tearing at the family. And Tony Body will tell us more about what happened, where they think he might be, and if there is anything else that you should be on the lookout for. A bizarre story coming off the Thanksgiving break. The Nantucket Courant reporting that 5 of the vehicles rented by the United States Secret Service during President Joe Biden's Thanksgiving break. His family met in Nantucket for Thanksgiving. And they've been doing this for decades. His Secret Service detail, they needed 5 cars. That's what they got. They burst into flame after they were returned to the rental lot. The report says that the 5 vehicles were all different makes and models. There was a Chevy Suburban, a Ford Explorer, an Infiniti QX80, a Ford Expedition, and a Jeep Gladiator. Now, the Expedition did have a recall on it for connections to the battery, indicating that fires have been caused by the problem, and the car had not yet been serviced on that recall. At this point, they don't know if it was a single car that caused the fire or if somehow all 5 of these cars simultaneously caught fire. The report does say that the front of the Ford Expedition, which would be the one with the recall, and the one that was parked nose to nose with it, do appear to be considerably more damaged than the other cars. The airport says that at approximately 5:22 a.m., airport shift staff observed an active fire in the rental car overflow area through CCTV. They activated the alert system, responded to the fire, and Nantucket Fire Department, Nantucket Police Department all came out. They were able to contain it, although the 5 vehicles were damaged. And the airport is now coordinating with the rental car agencies to find out what happened. They put the fire out. There's no active threat here. The airport's open, and aeronautical operations were not affected by this. It's probably, if you're going for the simplest explanation, the recall that wasn't serviced spreading to other vehicles. You have one that catches fire, it gets going nice and hot, and pretty soon you've got cars popping next to it. But it makes for a weird story that it just happened to be the 5 vehicles rented by President Biden's entourage that were all affected by this. On an even more hair-raising note, this overflow lot, the spaces where these 5 vehicles were parked, were 40 feet from the airport's 25,000-gallon jet fuel tanks. Obviously, the incident is now under investigation. South Dakota is following the advice of the FCC, and I'd like to thank Greg Lane for pointing this story out to me. Not that I'm the kind of person who would ever say I told you so, but in this case, I've been saying this for months at least. I feel like I've been saying it for years because I feel like Skip and I had an argument about this, about whether or not it was safe to have on our kids' phone, because logically the kids don't have any banking information. They don't have anything sensitive on there. But the governor of South Dakota has signed an executive order banning all state agencies, employees, and contractors from accessing TikTok on government devices. Governor Noem cites the growing national security threat posed by the Chinese-owned social media platform. Quote, South Dakota will have no part in the intelligence gathering operations of nations who hate us. The Chinese Communist Party uses information it gathers on TikTok to manipulate the American people, and they gather data off the devices that access the platform. The order goes into effect immediately. Governor Noem is 100% correct to be doing this. She is using the best available information, and she is responding appropriately to an intelligence threat that, for reasons that I simply cannot comprehend, continues to be largely ignored at all levels of government and even across all levels of information security professionals. Now, if you sit down and you talk with somebody who knows information security, information technology, grab any computer geek, the nephew that comes over and restarts your router once a month, the guy in your office that hooks up printers, and ask them if this is silly, if this is over the top, and they're going to tell you without hesitation that it is not silly and it is not over the top. Now, we talk about stuff that tech people will and will not do that's different from the general public. And there's a lot of tech people that their primary phone, their main device, they keep it clean. They don't load a bunch of apps on it because they want it to perform the functions that they need for professional purposes. They want it to be secure. And then they'll have a dummy device that they use for Facebook, for Twitter, God forbid, for TikTok. None of them are using TikTok even on those devices anymore because it's so insidious. The language on the back end of the app, the amount of data that it's schlepping, not just to servers here in the United States, but right back to China, to servers owned and controlled by the Chinese Communist government, is chilling. I have to say, I applaud the governor's decision to ban it on all government devices, and I hope that we see everybody get on board with this. I know there's going to be pushback. There's going to be people who say you can't tell me what to do. But at least as far as government-owned equipment goes, amen. Get it done. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. When we get back, we'll be talking with Tony Body from the Fresno County Sheriff's Office about a missing man, 86 years old, an Alzheimer's patient. It's been almost a week since his family has seen him. We'll find out if there's any good news, if there's any important leads, and if there's anything you should know if you see Mr. Grant out on the streets. It's News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Well, Philip, out on the roadways, South Clovis Avenue at East Clarkson, got an injury accident being reported in Madera on Road 28.5 at Avenue 17. Another injury accident with some road blockage. Also, Dinuba Road 74 at Avenue 400 got some road blockage. And in Tulare, right now, they're doing a traffic break on northbound 99 at Prosperity. Traffic break is because they're trying to repair some potholes. Next update, 2:33. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by In-N-Out Burger.
At In-N-Out, our hamburgers are made with the highest quality ingredients, made fresh and by hand, made with a smile, and made to order just for you.
With 2 locations, one in downtown Fresno off Tulare Street and now at Pomonese. Hummus Republic provides flavorful, convenient meals by bringing their modern Mediterranean kitchen to you. With a fresh vibe and cool aesthetic, enjoy delicious and savory pita wraps and bowls that can be customized with the perfect fixings. They also offer vegan and gluten-free options. Treat yourself and your family to the healthy side of fast food with an Earth Burger and sweet potato waffle fries, pita and hummus, or personalize your own bowl. Hummus Republic also offers catering. And with the holidays here, check out their catering menu and follow them on social at Hummus Republic Fresno. Get details on how to cater that upcoming event or holiday party, because good food is a good mood and healthy food is for happy people. And here's something else to be happy about. How about a sweet deal on Hummus Republic? This Friday at 9 a.m., you can buy 2 $25 gift certificates for just $25. Get yours Friday starting at 9 a.m. on KMJNow.com.
Attention! This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-423-4161. Vehicle Protection Plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-423-4161 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-423-4161. What do you have to lose? Call 800-423-4161. Again, 800-423-4161.
One search engine is used by 9 out of 10 consumers. Hint, the name begins with a G. And there are hundreds of things that go into being ranked highly by that engine. Your website, your business profile, even your social accounts. A couple of slip-ups and you find yourself on page 7. But at Cumulus Boost, we have the experts and resources to fix what's wrong and boost your findability so you can rank higher than your competition. Get started today at cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS boost.com.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for healthcare. And here's why. Not only is it open enrollment for a lot of people, it's also a time you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. And it's true, the typical family switching to MediShare saves $500 or more a month, which is obviously huge for a lot of people. But what's more, they like it. MediShare has double the customer satisfaction rate compared to health insurance. There are 400,000 members. They've shared over $4 billion in medical bills, and it really is a great community, too. People encourage and pray for each other. And here's the thing. If you join MediShare Complete right now, they'll waive your new member fees, and you'll save an additional 10% off all of 2023. That's right. No fee to join, 10% off every month of next year, but it's a very limited time offer. You have to sign up before December 31st. Great savings, great health care. Find out more. Call now. 844-53-BIBLE. That's 844-53-BIBLE. 844-53-BIBLE.
Thomason Tractor Company and Firebaugh's holiday sale is going on now through December 23rd.
you can save up to 75% off some March items. Anything John Deere they have, from the John Deere compact utility tractors to a large showroom with parts, toys, hats, safes, and apparel for the entire family. They are now a full area dealer with boots and clothing. Come in today for all of your holiday needs. Family owned and operated for over 55 years. Thomas & Tractor Company in Firebaugh, where superior service is standard equipment. See dealer for details.
It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi. Phone's open for your calls at 490-5858 and toll-free 800-776-5858. Another technology-adjacent story on the way involving Google and paid endorsements for one of their new cell phones. Didn't go great. Right now, though, the Public Information Officer for the Fresno County Sheriff's Office, Tony Body, joins us. Tony, welcome back to KMJ, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Philip. Thanks for having me.
No, I appreciate you making time. I've been watching this story of Ulysses Carr, who's been missing since last Friday. Do we have any update on Mr. Carr? Have you guys gotten any actionable information yet?
Unfortunately, we have not. One thing I can say, though, is that we've really ramped up our efforts since last Friday to try and find Mr. Carr. Just to kind of recap people, he was last seen around 8 in the morning. He lives out near Muscat and Valentine Avenues. That's near the regional sports complex in southwest Fresno. Something concerning is Mr. Carr has Alzheimer's disease. He's 86 years old. But he's no stranger to taking walks. He's known to go on daily walks, doing 2 and 3 mile round trips. His family says that he even walked as much as 12 miles in one day. So for him to not show back up, that is what is very strange. In this particular case, he had his dog with him. He was walking him, and the dog has since come home. He came back the next day, but of course, Mr. Carr was not with him.
I had seen some speculation that Mr. Carr may have hitched a ride somewhere. Is there a couple of different thoughts on that? I guess, first of all, is there any thought from the family and from his caregivers where he might have asked a driver to take him if he got picked up as a hitchhiker?
Well, so that is speculation. It's something we always factor into when we have missing persons cases, especially with somebody who might be in an altered state of mind. There could always be the good Samaritan who sees this person lost. Hey, can I help you? Can I get you somewhere? And that person may get in the car with them and tell them, yeah, take me here. Or maybe they have a long lost memory of a family member who used to live, in X, Y, and Z, and they think that they're still there. They tell them, take me there. That is definitely a factor we could be looking at. Somebody takes him to a different area, and that person just has not seen this in the news to know that he is missing, so we've never received a call from them. So there's nothing to say that happened, but we do also like to remind people that if you're hearing about this now, you're seeing Mr. Carr, and it kind of all comes together, please let us know. You're not in any trouble. We just need to be put on the right path to try and find him.
Yeah, you anticipated my next question perfectly. Somebody who innocently gives a stranger a lift is not a criminal. You guys, the sheriff's department, needs to know what they know in order to refine your effort to find Mr. Carr.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, this one's kind of an outlier. We usually have pretty good luck anytime people go missing, especially our elderly population. We'll find them within a day or so. Sometimes they, make their way to bus stops or somebody does drop them off somewhere. But this one, it has a scratch in our head. I mean, because the areas that we're going to look, they're pretty wide open. We're talking open fields, orchards, vineyards. Our search and rescue teams have covered about 20 square miles. We're here on day 6 today. We have about 35 deputies and volunteers that are out each day. We've even tapped mutual aid through Merced, Madera, Kings, Tulare, and Kearns County. They have SAR members out with us as well. So there's no shortage of research of resources. The absence has been clues. Nothing, no clothing that's been left behind, any shoe tracks that tell us where he's gone. So it's really tough, and that's why we're hoping to get the word out to the community that we still need help on this one, and their eyes are going to be the most powerful thing for us because we can only be in so many places at one time.
Now, you mentioned that Mr. Carr is a walker, and he liked to go out and stretch his legs. And are you able to say how advanced Mr. Carr's Alzheimer's is? Is this somebody who's a very, very lost soul, or is Mr. Carr still having more good days than bad at this point?
To my knowledge, he's pretty well put together, because for him to be able to take basically daily walks, and the family didn't bat an eye at him going out the door and saying, "I'm going for my walk, I'll see you later," and he'll go cover 2-3 miles, and he always returned home. So who knows? I mean, it could be something with his Alzheimer's that took him off the path last week, or it could have been something else where something more traumatic, or is he somewhere that we just don't see him, that sort of thing. But we've been very thorough so far in looking for him. And something I wanted to bring up to your listeners too is the technology we have is top grade. Our SAR members actually wear digital trackers. And our sergeant can view a computer monitor and see every little step of where they've gone, and it colors out a map. And by the end of the day, we can find any gaps and know, okay, tomorrow let's search this area because we missed it. So we know where we've searched, and like I said, we keep spanning out further and further, and it's just very strange to not find any sign of him.
Has the family suggested any known haunts, a church, a restaurant, anything like that might be his intended destination?
Well, they've shared with us what his normal walking path would be, but we've also run into some people who, are walkers themselves who say, "I've seen him before and he was over here." Well, it is a little bit different than where the family told us. So it just goes to show that maybe Mr. Carr was a little bit more of a wanderer. He liked to try new paths out. So he wasn't married to one particular route every single day. So I guess that's good in a sense, because it tells us that there are other possibilities that he may have set off on, but bad that here we are 6 days in and we're no closer than from day one.
So, again, for the folks who are just joining us or just hearing about this, 86-year-old Ulysses Carr is a black man, 5'6", 160 pounds, gray hair, brown eyes. He was last seen wearing a black hoodie, blue jeans, and gray Crocs. He's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, although up until this incident, it sounds like Mr. Carr was reasonably well put together. He was still very lucid and was out enjoying walks. Is there anything that I'm not asking you that I should be thinking of, Tony?
Well, just as you put that description, obviously on the radio, it's tough to visualize that sometimes. Interestingly, some people on social media have kind of likened him to Morgan Freeman, having a little bit of that resemblance. So it's not saying it's spot on, but that might be something that your listener wants to keep in their mind, of that type of a look. So if you see anybody who resembles that, anywhere throughout Fresno County, I mean, who knows how far he could have traveled by now. We've gotten several tips from people. Unfortunately, nothing's panned out, but we can't ask for anything more than for the people to be engaged. Tell us, hey, I think it could be, and let us go and rule it out. There's no harm in us going and checking. We've also been checking surveillance cameras in the area, schools, businesses, homes. Nothing has popped yet to show us where he might be. But that's really it, is to just keep this story alive, let people keep their eyes out, and let us know if you see anybody that could be him, and give us a call at 600-3111 right away.
Well, and I appreciate the Morgan Freeman comparison, because looking at the picture and letting it settle in for a minute, that Morgan Freeman's older, shorter brother or cousin would not be an unfair description of him. There's definitely a little bit of a resemblance, especially with that salt and pepper hair.
Sure, absolutely.
Tony, I'm glad that you had time for me today. We'll keep banging this drum, and I hope to hear good news soon.
Absolutely. We hope too. Thanks for keeping the word out, Philip.
Anytime. That's Tony Body, Public Information Officer for the Fresno County Sheriff's Office. If you have seen Mr. Carr, if you gave him a lift, you're not in trouble. They just need to know what you know. But if you've seen him, if you think you've seen him, he was out walking in Southwest Fresno. Call the Fresno County Sheriff's Office, dispatch line 600-3111, 600-3111. If you have any idea where Mr. Carr is or might have been, they need your help to find him, because he is lost and his family is hurting, and they'd like to have him home before Christmas gets here. You can find the link and a picture of Mr. Carr on social media at Drive KMJ and at KMJnow.com. News time now. Here's Liz Kern.
KMJ News now.
Thousands of convicted pedophiles in California have been released from prison after only spending less than a year in prison. The story broke by the Daily Mail. Data available on California's Megan's Law website shows more than 7,000 sex offenders convicted of lewd or lascivious acts with a child under 14 were released. Megan's Law is a federal law requiring law enforcement to make information on sex offenders available to the public. It was passed in 1994 during the Clinton administration after the murder of 7-year-old Megan Kanka in New Jersey. Environmental science professor at Fresno State says he's not surprised by the recent volcanic eruption in Hawaii.
Sunday night, the Mauna Loa volcano finally came out of a 38-year slumber.
Mauna Loa is one of the most active volcanoes in the world.
Over the past 2 days, the lava flows have not posed any problem for downslope communities. No evacuations have been ordered, and schools remain open. Since early November, the number of earthquakes beneath the summit at Mauna Loa doubled. Professor Paterka says that was a signal to USGS scientists that an eruption might be near.
Mauna Loa is one of the largest volcanoes in the world, not just the most active. If you measure it from the bottom of the sea floor up to its top, it's actually bigger than Mount Everest.
What's bubbling to the surface could continue for months.
And that was Fox 26 News reporter Rich Rodriguez. Metallica and the 139-year-old boot and clothing brand Wolverine celebrating Giving Tuesday with a charitable new collection.
Squeeze it in, crush it down.
The Wolverine and Metallica Scholars Collection was released yesterday. It includes a co-branded shirt, jacket, hooded sweatshirt, graphic tee, knit beanie, and the return of the Wolverine and Metallica Scholars Hellcat Ultra Spring Work Boot. The collection ranging in price from $15 to $165. It's available exclusively at Wolverine.com. On Wall Street, a good day making money. The Dow ending up 737 points. 2:35 right now. Valley weather, sunny and 62 at Radio City. Here's Fox 26's Christina Lopez with our Wednesday forecast.
Good Wednesday afternoon to you. A chilly start to the day with a freeze warning earlier in the morning. Expect dry to mild conditions today ahead of a winter storm set to arrive tomorrow, bringing widespread valley rain and mountain snow. Right here in the Fresno area, a high of 61 degrees with calm winds. Expect a low of 44 degrees tonight. At the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Christina Lopez for KMJ News. Make it a great afternoon.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJnow.com. I'm Liz Kern, News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Thanks, Liz. In Goshen right now on southbound 99 at Betty Drive. Heads up there, a large pothole in the slow lane. There's already been almost an accident caused because of this pothole. So be very, very careful if you're on southbound 99 by Betty Drive. In Tulare, northbound 99 at Prosperity, they're repairing potholes there and some traffic breaks on and off while they're doing the repair work. In Madera, on Road 28.5 at Avenue 17, injury accident at that location. Our next update is at 2:47. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by In-N-Out Burger.
At In-N-Out, our hamburgers are made with the highest quality ingredients, made fresh and by hand, made with a smile, and made to order just for you.
Central California Ballet's The Nutcracker is coming to the Soroyan December 10th and 11th. Praised by Dance Magazine, The Nutcracker is the Valley's best holiday show with spectacular local dancers. A tradition for the whole family, the must-see event of the season, The Nutcracker. December 10th and 11th at the Soroyan. Tickets are available through the Lively Arts Foundation, Ticketmaster, and the Convention Center box office.
Your local radio stations are here for you. No subscriptions or monthly fees necessary. We're here to give you the news, weather, and traffic you need, and the music you love. But if the foreign-owned record labels get their way, it could stop the music. They want Congress to force radio stations to pay them more money, simply to play their music. Don't let radio go silent. Text LOCAL to 52886 and tell Congress to protect local radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Wait. Tell me, where'd you get that money?
Oh, this? Oh, man, all this money came from 43money.com right online.
Are you saying you went to 43money.com and got all that money you needed fast?
Man, you know it. I went to 43money.com yesterday and bam, $5,000 was in my account today. Straight up.
Now hold on. 43money.com helped you get $5,000 like that?
Yeah, man, that's right. 43money.com's lenders provide personal loans for up to $5,000 for people like you and me, even if you don't have good credit.
Man, I'm always short on cash. Can 43money.com help me get the money I need fast?
If you need extra money fast, go to 43money.com. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income. Go to 43money.com and you can get the loan you need now. Regardless of your credit, go to 43money.com to get the money you need fast. Type www.43money.com directly into the address bar. That's 43money.com. Again, 43money.com. 43money.com.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. It's pro time because at Lowe's it's Provember. Over 30 days to save big. Full of more inventory, more Lowe's MVP's bonus points, and more of the deals you deserve. Because it always pays to be a pro at Lowe's. Save all Provember long.
Survivors of clergy child sexual abuse in California have limited time to seek justice. Survivors have until December 31st, 2022 to take legal action. Contact Jeff Anderson and Associates for a confidential conversation. Call us at 1-800-ITS-TIME. 12011 San Vicente Boulevard, Suite 700, Los Angeles, California. Attorney Advertising.
You're worried about the economy. Inflation is high. Your paycheck doesn't cover as much as it used to. And we live under the threat of a looming recession. And sure, you're doing okay, but you could be doing better.
The Afford Anything podcast explains the economy and the market, detailing how to make wise choices on the way you spend and invest.
Afford Anything talks about how to avoid common pitfalls, how to refine your mental models, and how to think about how to think.
Make smarter choices and build a better life.
Afford Anything, wherever you listen.
Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now.
First, thank you very much for all you do, and thank you for personally inspiring me.
The Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
Rolling through your 2 o'clock hour on KMJ. Thanks again to Tony Botti for joining us. The case of missing 86-year-old Ulysses Carr continues. And you can find details on how to identify Mr. Carr at kmjnow.com. We've also got a link to that story on Facebook and Twitter at DriveKMJ. But if you know anything about Mr. Carr, if you've seen him, if you think you've seen him, call the Fresno County Sheriff's Office. Let them know what you know so we can get this man home in time for the holidays, please. The Associated Press is starting to report on a story out of the Bay Area. The Federal Correctional Institution in Dublin, California, is allegedly the scene of what some inmates called a rape club. The former warden of FCI Dublin is now on trial. He's accused of molesting inmates and forcing them to pose naked in their cells. Ray J. Garcia retired after the FBI found nude photos of inmates on his government-issued phone last year. He is one of 5 charged with abusing the inmates at FCI Dublin. He's also the first to go to trial. Opening statements kicked off Monday of this week in federal court in Oakland. Prosecutors are spelling out evidence that they say show Garcia's abuse of several inmates followed a pattern that started with compliments and eventually escalated to sexual encounters. Garcia has pled not guilty, and yet if convicted, former Warden Garcia faces up to 15 years in prison. KTVU2, the Fox network affiliate up in San Francisco, has been reporting on this and has been covering this story from the word go. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, this is a rough one. This is a bold abuse of power by the person at whom the highest level of trust was placed. The first witness to testify in this, and the Associated Press and KTVU and KMJ all have the same policy of not identifying victims of sexual abuse without their consent. But in this case, these women have consented to it. In fact, they're hoping that by being identified, it'll give them some degree of protection, because some of these women are still in prison. And being a prisoner who has ratted out a guard is not an easy life. The first witness, Melissa, says that she had no idea that there was a PREA program. This is the Prison Rape and Elimination Act, signed by President Bush in 2003. Melissa's serving a 15-year sentence for conspiracy to murder. And she alleges that in 2019 and 2020, former Warden Garcia directed training on PREA and was training new supervisors on these procedures and policies as a part of his official duties, while, as prosecutors have it, at least on one occasion, Garcia sexually assaulted Melissa in a prison changing stall the same day that PREA investigators were visiting the prison. Tess Korth is a former unit manager at FCI Dublin. She was forced out of her job for reporting the abuse allegations. She's been attending the trial, and she says that having worked at the prison for 25 years, she saw incarcerated women being handed brochures that had a blurb about the law, just so the Bureau of Prisons could cover their backsides. Korth says that she suggested doing more with PREA, like holding a class on the topic, playing the law on TV sets around the prison, but her ideas were ignored. An attorney with Centro Legal della Raza in Oakland, Susan Beatty, they're part of the team on this for these women, and the Centro Legal della Raza is focused on providing legal support to incarcerated women. Beatty said that outside court, she thinks it speaks volumes that FCI Dublin was able to pass its PREA audit with flying colors last year, despite being actively investigated for this sex abuse scandal. Some of the language in this story, and obviously when you're talking about sexual assault, you got to tread lightly. But one of the ladies who testified used the expression "sweet gentleman to pornographic" in describing her exchanges with Ray Garcia. She says that there was a pattern of behavior where Garcia was flirting with women and grooming them for sex. Warden Garcia promised to take this prisoner who was serving 15 years for conspiracy to commit murder. He promised to take her to Napa Valley when she was free. Melissa says that Garcia regularly told her how soft her skin was and even showed compassion when her mother was dying back in November of 2019. Melissa says that Garcia had a change of demeanor when they were alone together. He was very explicit about his desires, routinely talked to her in a way one would not talk to a lady, and apparently showed her photos of himself in the nude on a regular basis. Her testimony is the first evidence entered into Garcia's trial in court in Oakland. Judge Rogers has ordered that only the jury is going to get to see the photos that are being discussed at trial. They're going to remain under seal to protect the women who are making these accusations. Garcia, again, charged with 3 counts of sexual abuse of a ward, 4 counts of abusive sexual contact, and 1 count of false testimony to the FBI. Prosecutors say Garcia misused his position and power. And again, he's one of 5 officers from the federal correctional facility in Dublin who have been brought up on these charges. The trial is going to continue in Oakland, and for the women's sake, I hope it's brief. It's the afternoon drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Google and a major radio company both entering into a settlement agreement this week with the Federal Trade Commission. We'll tell you about that when we get back on KMJ.
Right now, we have a problem with the big pothole on southbound 99 on Betty Drive. That's at Goshen. And then in Tulare, northbound 99 at Prosperity. They're repairing some potholes at that location. And Madera on Road 28.5 at Avenue 17. They're cleaning up from an injury accident. Next update is at 3:03. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by In-N-Out Burger.
At In-N-Out, our hamburgers are made with the highest quality ingredients, made fresh and by hand, made with a smile, and made to order just for you.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention parents with a child diagnosed with autism or severe ADHD. A recent congressional study found dangerously high levels of toxic heavy metals like mercury, lead, and arsenic in many popular baby food brands. Brands such as Gerber, Plum Organics, Beech-Nut, Walmart, and more. Some contain toxic metals 200 times the maximum safe levels set by the FDA. Heavy metals in baby food are known to be severe neurotoxins, and exposure to them at a young age can cause lifelong brain damage and neurodevelopmental disorders like autism and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. If you fed baby food to your child and they were later diagnosed with autism, autism spectrum disorders, or ADHD, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Call today for your free consultation. 800-728-1993. Don't wait. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-728-1993. That's 800-728-1993. Again, 800-728-1993.
Ad paid for by Montreal Drugstore. Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. PowerPill allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 per pill? Call today and get 50 Viagra pills for only $99. This could cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call this if you want Viagra at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-204-0017 today to save up to $500 and get 50 pills for just $99. PowerPill is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 800-204-0017 to take your call now. Call 800-204-0017. That's 800-204-0017. Again, 800-204-0017. Attention! This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-423-4161. Vehicle Protection Plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-423-4161 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-423-4161. What do you have to lose? Call 800-423-4161. Again, 800-423-4161.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202 now. I'm here with spokesman for the firm, John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call in.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here with you. We always enjoy answering the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, give us a call right now. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now to speak with a live agent for free. Call 800-843-4202.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
Live, local, on it. News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
KMJ.
And always streaming at KMJNow.com.
Rolling up on 3 o'clock on your afternoon drive. It's News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Philip Teresi hanging out with you until 6. The great one, Mark Levin, rolls up after that. This caught my eye because it hits close to home. Although I'm also a little surprised that the Federal Trade Commission would put a snarky headline in a press release about a settlement. The headline by Leslie Fair at ftc.gov: Hey Google and iHeartMedia, FTC doesn't heart deceptive endorsements. Ms. Fair goes on to say, if there's one point to take from the FTC's action against Google and iHeart, it's that the FTC doesn't heart endorsements given by people who haven't actually used the products they recommend. In a combined settlement, you're going to see Google shelling out about $9 million. iHeartMedia is going to pay about $400,000. As the FTC tells it, through its media buying agent, Google paid iHeart more than $2.6 million to have on-air personalities record ads for the company's Pixel 4 phone to run on their radio stations. According to the complaint, Google spent almost $2 million on similar arrangements with smaller radio networks unaffiliated with iHeart in addition. The FTC says Google provided iHeart and the other networks with scripts for the radio personalities to use in recording ads in English and Spanish. And the typical script lauded many features of the Pixel 4, singling out the camera's studio-like photos, the performance of the night sight mode, and multiple first-person references to how the endorser had supposedly used the phone. For example, saying things like taking photos at my son's football game, or my mom and dad's 50th birthday, or my daughter's school play. Early in the campaign, iHeart got Google's approval to have on-air personalities customize certain parts of the script depending upon what's relevant to them in their personal lives. 43 personalities at stations in 10 different markets recorded ads for the Pixel 4 using language identical or substantially similar to what was in the Google scripts. Some of them, of course, did personalize how they claimed to use the phone, and the ads aired over 11,000 times between October and December of 2019. But whatever the jocks had to say, the FTC says the one thing that they had in common is none of them actually owned or regularly used the Google Pixel 4. Again, Google's spending $9 million on this settlement. iHeartMedia spending $400,000 on this settlement. We'll post a link to the story so you can read the whole thing on Facebook and Twitter at Drive KMJ.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at kmjnow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Gotta tell you, these are very ugly times for many facets of American business because of the war with Russia and Ukraine. Let me tell you about agriculture and a very respected name, J.C. Lansdowne. They partner up with every one of their agricultural customers in making petroleum purchasing decisions. They will advise on price and the direction of the market. And the market, slightly volatile, of course. J.C. Lansdowne, it's safe to say, has been there and done that for almost 100 years in 4 generations. Whether you're just a family farm or you're a dairy business, J.C. Lansdowne is there to guide you through decision-making when it comes to purchasing fuel. My heart goes out to everybody who's affected by these times, especially those of you in the ag business. If it isn't one thing, it's got to be another. But you'll sleep better knowing that J.C. Lansdowne is watching out for you. Call 559-651-1760. Most of you know the name. Just reach out and they'll be there for you. Remember, it's 4 generations and 100 years in the field with you. J.C. Lansdowne.
I will always remember the teachers who inspired me to do better, to be better. Their passion empowered me and countless other students. You can make an impact on students too, and Fresno Unified can help you get through one of its many teacher pipeline programs. Learn more about the path to becoming a teacher at the Aspiring Teacher Expo on Tuesday, December 6th at 4:00 p.m. in the McLean High School cafeteria. For more information, visit FresnoUnified.org.
Amanda Nugent-Devine, licensed marriage and family therapist, CEO of Kingsview.
Feelings are not facts, no matter how compelling. We can feel really good about something that is harmful to us, and we can feel really bad about something that is good for us. Feelings provide information and texture to life. They help us mobilize quickly when danger is near, and they help us communicate with others so our actions make sense. But they do not always represent the truth. Feelings are, for lack of a better word, processed through filters that include a myriad of things such as memories, brain chemistry, intellectual ability, culture, personal experience, past trauma, physical disposition, mental health, and influence from substances, just to name a few. This means that you and I can experience the same thing, hear the same thing, learn the same thing, and feel differently about it. The bottom line, enjoy your feelings for all the good they bring you, but question them if they start leading you down a destructive path.
The Mental Health Minute with Amanda Nugent-Devine is sponsored by Kingsview.
The original KMJ, 580 AM, 105.9 FM, Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Derek Dennis. In a vote of 290 to 137, the House of Representatives passed a bill today averting a potential rail strike that could have affected the nation's supply chain. Lawmakers also passed a separate bill giving paid sick days to rail workers, a sticking point in previous negotiations.
The approval from the House marks a win for unions and possibly a politically positive move for President Biden, who has long hailed himself a pro-union leader. Both bills head to the Senate to be considered before heading to Biden's desk. M. Wynn, ABC News, Washington.
Also today, House Democrats elected a historic new generation of leaders, including New York Representative Hakeem Jeffries. He'll succeed Nancy Pelosi as leader of the Democratic caucus and become the first black lawmaker to lead a party in Congress. Jeffries addressed his Republican colleagues.
We hope that our colleagues on the other side of the aisle, as they temporarily inherit the majority in the next Congress, are willing to proceed with that same spirit of cooperation, fortitude, and mission-centered focus.
Democrats elected Catherine Clark of Massachusetts to be Democratic whip and California's Pete Aguilar as caucus chair. An experimental drug is offering new hope for millions of Americans living with Alzheimer's disease. After a large clinical trial, researchers say the drug called lecanemab slowed the rate of cognitive decline by 27% for patients in the early stages of the disease. About 6 million Americans are living with the disease. It could get FDA approval as early as January. Fleetwood Mac singer and songwriter Christine McVie has died. Her family says she passed away after a short illness. Christine McVie was 79 years old. This is ABC News.
Paid for by government.com.
Have you heard? A recent stash of 1904 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1904 O silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck. This is a key date for silver dollar collectors, and only a limited quantity are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call government at 1-800-895-7664, and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1904 O Morgan silver dollar featuring the iconic O mint mark of the New Orleans Mint. The final year of production, but with limited quantity, you must call now. These 1904 O silver coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 117 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-895-7664. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-895-7664 now to secure your 1904 O Morgan silver dollars before they sell out. That's 1-800-895-7664.
The LAPD is investigating who's behind the recording that set off a scandal involving members of the Los Angeles City Council.
California is a two-party state, so somebody cannot record another person without them knowing. Now the LAPD confirms it is serving search warrants to find out who secretly recorded LA City Council members meeting privately at a union building. That recording caught a racist-filled conversation that has led to the City Council president resigning and calls for 2 other council members to go. The LAPD says one of the search warrants has been served on Reddit to identify the person who posted the illegal recording online. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The app of the year, at least according to Apple, is Be Real. It's a photo sharing platform that sets a random time every day for users to post a single picture of what they're doing. Apple says Be Real gives people an authentic glimpse into their friends and families' everyday lives. I'm Derek Dennis, ABC News.
All right, one problem, and that is in Visalia right now. That happens to be a problem that was some road blockage on Road 74 at State Route 201. Otherwise, things are looking pretty good, up to the speed limit on all the freeways. Next update happens at 317. It's Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
It's time for another game of Solar Squabble, and boy, do we have a show for you. Get ready to jump through hoops and be underwhelmed by our company. Solar for you. Ready to play?
The game's over. Getting the right system at the right price can be easy with Energy Concepts. Tired of price hikes and high energy bills? Talk to our experts now to see how much you could save this summer with the right solar solution for your home or business. Calling Energy Concepts the highest rated elite SunPower dealer in the Valley? Now that's a power move.
Measure C needs you. Become a member of the Citizen Oversight Committee for Measure C and join other local leaders to help ensure that money for Fresno County's transportation systems is spent effectively and as promised to the public. Apply today at MeasureC.com.
Live, local, and on it. It's Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
Listen, I've been listening to you for quite a while, and your logic is sound. Your reasoning is sound that is for someone who loves this country, wants to see it secure, wants to see it safe, and wants to see it prosper. And I just want to thank you for all you do in that regard.
306 at News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi. Appreciate you hanging out this afternoon. Phone's open for your calls. 490-5858 and toll free 800-776-5858. I don't know if you heard Appleton talking about it earlier, but all this week he's giving away tickets to All Elite Wrestling. They're coming to Fresno in January. And if you want to see AEW at the Save Mart Center, you're going to have at least 2 more chances to win tickets coming up on the Appleton program tomorrow and Friday for All Elite Wrestling at the Save Mart Center. By the way, tickets provided by the Save Mart Center. That show's coming up in January. I don't know how I didn't know that Ray was a pro wrestling guy. It's never who you think it's going to be. Appleton, David Taub over at GV Wire. Both very smart guys. And both of them, I watched pro wrestling when I was a kid. I think the last time I watched a pro wrestling match, the earthquake hospitalized Hulk Hogan. I'm not making fun, man. If it brings you joy, it brings you joy. If you want to see All Elite Wrestling, Ray Appleton's got tickets again tomorrow and Friday for you to check him out at the Save Mart Center in January. And it's going to be a party. This is, as I understand it, one of their first forays out onto the West Coast. So a chance for you to see something that a lot of folks in the Golden State haven't seen yet. Something else that may be making its way from east to west. You may have heard that Mayor Eric Adams of New York City earlier this month announced a new effort by the city to remove people with severe, untreated mental illness from the city streets. Adams says New York has a moral obligation to address a crisis that we see all around us. And this is going to involve hospitalizing people involuntarily, even if they do not pose an immediate risk of harm to others. So this is where you get to that distinction of the frequently tossed about 5150 hold. You get somebody who's having an acute psychotic episode or is severely intoxicated or is having an emotional break, and they say something, they do something that makes you think they might hurt themselves or somebody else. You can get them held for 72 hours. Once they've gotten a little bit of treatment, they're put back out on the street. The proposal from Adams changes that. He says the common misunderstanding persists that we cannot provide involuntary assistance unless the person is violent. This myth must be put to rest. Mayor Adams says, going forward, we will make every effort to assist those who are suffering from mental illness and whose illness is endangering them by preventing them from meeting their own basic human needs. Now, there's acknowledgement that case law does not provide extensive guidance regarding removals for mental health evaluations based on short interactions in the fields. Like I just said, homeless people will, specifically homeless people with severe mental illness, will get checked in on a 5150 hold, a 72-hour observation. And a couple of days later, little food, little medication, little rest, a shower, they're a little better. So they're discharged. Mayor Adams says that the city of New York will now direct hospitals to keep those patients until they are stable and to discharge them only when there's a workable plan to connect them to ongoing care. Now, the governor of New York has agreed to add 50 new psychiatric beds to New York State hospitals to help with this overflow and this concern of patients being discharged before they're even close to ready to stand on their own 2 feet. Chief counsel to the mayor, Brendan McGuire, was asked about the legality of holding people involuntarily, and he said that there's going to be holds under a state mental hygiene law that allows for involuntary commitment if these folks are a threat to themselves or others. Caseworkers are going to assess people on a case-by-case basis, including whether they are able to provide basic needs such as food, shelter, and health care for themselves. This is something that we've talked about off and on for years now. There is no one solution to homelessness, not under the law as it currently exists, and not under the law as it could be reasonably expected to evolve in the near term. And it really, it boils down to you have one of two choices when you're dealing with these folks. And I know there is a distinction between homelessness and criminal vagrants. That's not the argument to be made here. It is, when do you identify somebody as being incapable of caring for themselves, and how do you discern when that has transitioned into being actively harmful to yourself? Fortunately, I've not been homeless. I've always managed to keep a roof over my head. Once or twice when I was in my teens, through the good grace of my folks cutting a check for me, but as an adult, I've always managed to keep a roof over my own head. That doesn't mean I've never slept in my car. Taking long road trips, I don't want to cough up for a hotel. If it's just me, why not? I used to commute. Once upon a time, I was working 6 days a week up in Modesto, and I was living in Clovis. And I would be so exhausted by the time I was set to go home, because I was leaving for work at like 10 p.m., stopping at the Fresno office to handle about an hour's worth of scut work, and then driving to Modesto to set up to play producer for a morning show. And then after the morning show, hanging out and doing my own show. By the time I left Modesto, I was exhausted. I mean, like, cross-eyed, shouldn't be on the road, exhausted. And so I would stop on the southbound 99 at the rest stop in Turlock. I would find a shady spot, park my car, and I'd sleep for a couple of hours. I wasn't homeless, but I probably looked like it. A 20-year-old disc jockey in a half-buttoned Hawaiian shirt conked out in the driver's seat of a Honda Accord. That's not who we're looking at. We're talking about people who can't care for themselves, people who don't bathe themselves, who don't feed themselves, who either don't know that they need medication or don't have any of the wherewithal required to acquire it and take it as would be appropriate medically. And so part of the rationale here, and I think that it is a sound rationale, part of the rationale here is that if you found a child living on the street, you wouldn't leave that child there. You wouldn't leave an 8, 9, 10-year-old to sleep in the gutter. They're not capable of doing all the things that they need to do. Society has an obligation to protect those kids, and we do, to the best of our ability. If you've got somebody who's mentally ill, why are we waiting until things get so far out of hand that they've crossed a line into possible criminality? Don't we acknowledge that this person isn't functioning the way a healthy, self-possessed adult would, and at that point intervene much of the way we would with a child? There's only two solutions to homelessness. And one of them is Darwinian. Provide nothing, offer no shelter, no aid, no food plans, give them nothing. And homelessness will decline. And it will decline on two fronts. The takers, the grifters, the criminals, the addicts who just refuse to operate within the bounds of civil society. They'll get tired of having nothing. They'll get tired of being hungry. They'll get tired of getting run out of city parks. And they'll do what they have to do to function within the loosest margins of socially acceptable standards. And the rest will die. It's not pretty, but it is one of the routes to solving homelessness. The other is humanism. And there's this little tiny fine line that runs through the middle of this. And on one side is humanism. It's compassion. It is seeing a person in need, in pain, and doing whatever needs to be done, using the collective wealth of society in a, frankly, socialistic way but for the benefit of society, getting this person off the streets, reducing their incentive to criminality, reducing their presence as a burden on the healthcare system, and giving them what they need, including supervision and guidance, to be able to live as much of a productive life as they ever can. But right up against that, right on the edge of it, there's a kind of fascism. And I don't mean that in some big hyperbolic, we're mad at each other so we're screaming about Hitler way. I mean that in a very literal way. That you will dictate how a person lives from birth to death because of disability, intellectual infirmity, whatever it may be that's led them to be childlike and incapable of caring for themselves. Is it better for society? And where is that line? When do you go from taking somebody who needs help, who should in a society as wealthy as ours be cared for because they cannot care for themselves? And when do you cross over into infringing on freedoms of somebody who has simply made choices that you and I don't understand? 490-5858, 800-776-5858. Your calls on this when we get back. Also, a local group talking about whether or not we should do this in Fresno. And it's a valid question. We'll discuss it next on the Afternoon Drive on KMJ.
Got a couple of hazards causing some problems on the roadways in Fresno. First time eastbound 168 at Shaw Avenue, right there at the off-ramp. There appears to be a hazard in the middle lane. Then northbound 41 at eastbound Shields, another hazard, this one in the slow lane. Next update, 3:33. Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies.
Dell's Cyber Monday business event starts now with up to 50% off on select business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Plus savings on essential accessories and free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Throughout your journey, you have taken care of yourself and don't expect to stop now. Stay on top of your healthcare needs and let Sante Physicians be your guide. If you are eligible, open enrollment is now available and only takes a few moments to sign up. Sante Physicians is here for your Medicare needs with more resources and locations than any other network in the Valley. Your doctor is here to provide you with the highest quality care, and you can act now by calling 559-234-1393. Sante Physicians, the best doctors, the best choice.
As a California grower, you understand the fight against salts in your soil. If your crops are affected by salts, you need Retrosol. It's a unique bionutritional product designed to improve crop health on saline soils. Retrosol by Valagro helps flush out harmful salts, improving soil structure and plant health. To learn more, come see us in booth 1934 at the Almond Conference. Go to valagrousa.com or call 559-287-7724. Retrosol, protecting crops from high salt stress.
Ad sponsored by Open Jar Concepts. Attention, this is an important message for anyone that has been diagnosed with cancer after being exposed to Roundup or other weed killers. The Internal Agency for Research on Cancer warned that overexposure to Roundup and other weed killers may increase the risk of developing non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Monsanto, the manufacturer of Roundup, may have known that Roundup and other weed killers were likely linked to organ damage and cancer. This information was hidden from the public as proprietary trade secrets since 1981, and Monsanto may have failed to warn of the potential risk of cancer. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with cancer after being exposed to Roundup or other weed killers, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Call us now at 800-711-4187. Our network of attorneys are ready to fight for you, and you'll pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call now for a free consultation at 800-711-4187. You must protect your legal rights. Call 800-711-4187. Again, 800-711-4187. Ad paid for by Montreal Drugstore. Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. PowerPill allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 per pill? Call today and get 50 Viagra pills for only $99. This could cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call this if you want Viagra at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-204-0017 today to save up to $500 and get 50 pills for just $99. Power Pill is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 800-204-0017 to take your call now. Call 800-204-0017. That's 800-204-0017. Again, 800-204-0017. Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention! If you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes by up to 99%. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-793-1525 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-793-1525. That's 800-793-1525. Again, 800-793-1525.
You're worried about the economy. Inflation is high. Your paycheck doesn't cover as much as it used to. And we live under the threat of a looming recession. And sure, you're doing okay, but you could be doing better.
The Afford Anything podcast explains the economy and the market, detailing how to make wise choices on the way you spend and invest.
Afford Anything talks about how to avoid common pitfalls, how to refine your mental models, and how to think about how to think.
Make smarter choices and build a better life.
Afford Anything, wherever you listen.
It's the afternoon drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi. Your phones are 490-5858 and 800-776-5858. We're talking about a plan born in New York City, although I don't think truly unique to the city, to begin hospitalizing severely mentally ill homeless, to take these people off the streets, not just for a 72-hour hold, not just for a wellness check, but until they've got some measure of stability and are connected properly with services. It goes to one of the two ways to deal with homelessness in the short term, because the true long-term solution is, of course, a much, much bigger thing. And we'll talk about local folks who are hoping to adopt that. And I can't say that they're wrong. I can't say that they're trying to do the wrong thing. I think that their hearts are absolutely in the right place. And we'll get into that in a minute. But Ann's on the phone at 490-5858. Ann, thanks for calling KMJ. Good afternoon.
Hi. I just recently heard that the old hotel that's kitty across from Walgreens on Shaw in Palm, they're building a home. I don't know whether it's for the homeless or the mentally ill. For some reason, they're keeping it quiet. I wonder if you'd heard anything about it. I'm concerned because I live in the neighborhood. I don't want mentally ill people wandering around my front yard.
So my understanding is that this is not for mentally ill people. My understanding is that this is actually going to be housing for otherwise housing-challenged college kids.
Oh. Well, that's not what I heard. I heard that they. Why haven't we heard anything about it? There's been nothing in the paper. There's been nothing. Nobody's talked about it. I just.
It's a very good question, and if you live in the area, it's not an unreasonable thing to ask about. So part of the problem is the Fresno City College Housing Opportunities to Promote Education program began the process over a year ago and is just now able to get moving on the renovations, because this is what happens when you invite like 4 different levels of bureaucracy in the state of California in. Everything takes 100 times longer than it has to. So the reason that you haven't heard anything is because they've been going through the slog of dealing with the city, the state, the county, the various homeless service entities that are involved, the various educational entities that are involved, and putting the money together, because it's going to take about $30 million to rehabilitate that place and get it ready for these kids.
And these kids are poor kids who have no home. Is that what it's being built for?
The language that RH Community Builders and the HOPE program at Fresno City College use is students who are considered homeless or housing insecure, like kids who are couch surfing between friends and family members without a stable place to live. So you're getting motivated college students.
How would they discern between just a kid that just wants to live there and a kid that really needs to live there?
I'm assuming that there's going to be an application process, that you're going to have to go through financial affidavits, that kind of thing. I mean, if you were really determined to lie about it, it's within the realm of possibility. But if you look at what the hoops that you've got to jump through, if you're trying to get financial aid to go to school, all the stuff that the federal application for student aid requires, you'd have to be pushing your way all the way out to criminal fraud to qualify illegitimately. So
and our taxpayer money's paying for this, or the who's paying for it?
It looks like it's a combination of taxpayer money and private donations.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's very interesting.
So,
I wish
and hopefully it's good news, because compared to having it just set up as a straight up homeless shelter or a halfway house, you're going to get kids who are trying to make something of themselves in there, and that's that's a pretty good crowd to have around.
I agree. Okay, well, thank you so much.
My pleasure, and I'm glad you called. I'm glad you asked the question. Yeah, it's been fully a year since the announcement was made, so it's not crazy that it would take a while to get the word out. But yeah, it's a cool project. It puts the kids in exactly the right spot for transit, because they can catch number 9 up to Blackstone and shoot straight up Blackstone to the school. They could also take Fruit back, and it's a mile walk to get to campus, I think. And it puts them close enough to everything else that they need. You got Foods Co. just a little way down Shaw, not Whole Foods, Foods Co. A couple of restaurants. I think it's a good spot. I think it's a good place to put some college kids. Rent's going to be subsidized. They're not going to pay nothing. It looks like, as of the last report on this, the students who qualify for the subsidized rent at the San Joaquin, I don't know if they're still going to call it that or not, but the kids that qualify for that, they're going to pay about $400 a month, so it's not zero. And they have to be enrolled with at least 9 units and maintaining a 2.0 GPA. So there is an expectation that there's going to be some performance there. And considering the amount of police calls that used to go out to that facility, the trouble that they were having with, I guess there was a lot of gang activity in there. It sounds to me like an improvement for the neighborhood. So here in Fresno, we've got some local activists who are looking at what New York City Mayor Eric Adams has proposed, his direction to hospitalize people who are deemed mentally ill, even against their own will. In Fresno and Madera counties, we've got Fox 26 News says 4,216 people experiencing homelessness. Of that amount, more than 2,300 are flat out living on the street. That was according to the 2022 point in time and housing inventory counts. When we get back, I want to talk about the local folks who think that it's a good idea to adopt the New York approach. And I want to hear from you. Do you agree with that? Do you think that that's the way to go? And when you hear who is advocating for this, I'm curious to see if it does anything to change your mind, because there's some really good folks who are on the front lines of this fight, trying to help these folks, trying to help them rebuild their lives every day, who say this is absolutely step one for where we are in Fresno, Clovis, and Madera in the homelessness fight. We'll talk about it when we get back on the afternoon drive on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
Out on the roadways right now, we have eastbound 168 at Shaw, a hazard in the middle lane there. And northbound 41 at eastbound Shields, got a hazard in the slow lane. Next update is 347. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies.
Dell's Cyber Monday business event starts now with up to 50% off on select business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Plus savings on essential accessories and free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Wait. Tell me, where'd you get that money?
Oh, this? Oh, man. All this money came from 43money.com right online.
Are you saying you went to 43money.com and got all that money you needed fast?
Man, you know it. I went to 43money.com yesterday and bam, $5,000 was in my account today. Straight up.
Now hold on. 43money.com helped you get $5K like that?
Yeah, man, that's right. 43money.com's lenders provide personal loans for up to $5,000 for people like you and me, even if you don't have good credit.
Man, I'm always short on cash. Can 43money.com help me get the money I need fast?
If you need extra money fast, go to 43money.com. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income. Go to 43money.com and you can get the loan you need now. Regardless of your credit, go to 43money.com to get the money you need fast. Type www.43money.com directly into the address bar. That's 43money.com. Again, 43money.com. 43money.com.
I'm Chris Walls, and I'm a truck driver from Missouri. For 13 hours a night, I sit in my truck and I drive. Out of boredom, I'll stop and eat. If I'm not doing fast food, I guarantee there's a bag of chips open on my dashboard. Along with that, I'm good for about 4 liters of soda a night. That was all until Andro 400. I started out 4 months ago weighing 341 pounds, and since taking Andro 400, I have dropped 45 pounds. I'm sleeping better. There's no cravings. My knee pains went away. I've had some lower back issues, and I've noticed that went away, and I can only contribute that to Andro 400. One thing that Andro 400 said on the radio ad says it attacks belly fat. Well, let me tell you, it did. I've lost 6 inches. This product really does work.
So guys, if you'd like to experience similar results, then get Andro 400. The safe, natural, and inexpensive way to boost your testosterone. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435.
This report is sponsored by In-N-Out Burger.
At In-N-Out, our hamburgers are made with the highest quality ingredients, made fresh and by hand, made with a smile, and made to order just for you.
Survivors of clergy child sexual abuse in California have limited time to seek justice. Survivors have until December 31st, 2022 to take legal action. Contact Jeff Anderson and Associates for a confidential conversation. Call us at 1-800-ITS-TIME. 2011 San Vicente Boulevard, Suite 700, Los Angeles, California. Attorney Advertising.
Teresi. Streaming live on Alexa, Google Home, and everything else. Philip Teresi on KMJ.
It's 3:35 at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Phones open at 490-5858. Toll free at 800-776-5858. Carrying on with this homelessness thing, we told you about what the New York City mayor is implementing in his jurisdiction. And we're seeing a call for it here in Fresno. AJ Rasami is the president of the Blackstone Merchants Association. And he says, in reference to the homeless problem on Blackstone, these people cannot think for themselves. A decision has to be made for them. 3 days hospitalization is not enough. It doesn't do anything. Rasami says 6 months, 12 months of hospitalization might be more in order. He also says these are human beings. Quote, they deserve to get the help. If you are in your sound mind, would you want to live on the street? No. These people don't want to live on the street, but they have no choice. They have no help. And that's what the city's for. That's what the government's for. That's what the state's for. They need to provide that basic human need. Now, if you go to the New York Times Facebook page, the comments on the announcement about Mayor Adams' decision, you get the plethora. One commenter, we're becoming more fascist every day. Yeah, that's like I said just a minute ago. This is walking right up to that wire. Another one complains that there's no housing solution in the making. It's just about medicating people. And another says prisons are awful. Hospitals are at the brink. I can't see this going well. Matthew Dildine's the CEO at Fresno's Rescue Mission. We've talked to Matthew a couple of times now. I got to meet him at an event for Breaking the Chains last year. And Matthew's serious about the mission of the Fresno Rescue Mission. He wants to help people. The guy's a natural servant. And Matthew says, if you're on the other side of this argument, you're endorsing an argument that leads to people's death. Yes. Yes. That's exactly right. There are two solutions, Darwinism and humanism. Dildine says that to avoid that death, hospitalization needs to be provided to the mentally ill whether they want it or not. The quote here says, if you endorse the argument that we do not need to do more for mental illness, that the only way to attack homelessness is to say, hey, we want to welcome you to come inside, offer services, but not to compel ill people. This argument results in people dying. And so Matthew Dildine from the Fresno Rescue Mission makes the argument that the government should make decisions for mentally ill people who cannot make decisions for themselves. Again, talking to our news partner, Fox 26, he says, until California can look itself in the mirror and recognize a brutal but very loving fact that we have a substantial portion of people living on the streets who have lost the ability to participate in their forward progress, just like we would do for a child on the street, we need to step into their lives in a loving and compassionate way and take care of them. And here's that piece. But that also might mean removing some of their civil liberties because they are not in a mental state to be able to make positive decisions for themselves. So even the advocates for this recognize that there's an infringement on liberty. There's a recognition that the government, for some of these people, the government is going to have to become mommy and daddy. Now, I hate slippery slope arguments. I do not believe that everything that the government does is putting yet one more little pinky toe out over the precipice of totalitarianism. But I also can hear Ronald Reagan echoing around in the back of my skull.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The problem is that there is no private market solution being offered. Not seriously. There are no hospitals that are volunteering to convert entire wards to housing and clinics specifically for these folks, fully acknowledging how much work is already being done by all of our local hospitals, trying to care for people who are indigent, who are mentally ill, who are in need of something more that maybe even a hospital can provide. To be clear, I'm not criticizing our local hospitals. They only have so many resources. Sarah can offer some insight on this, and I'm actually very curious to hear her take. Welcome to KMJ, Sarah. Good afternoon.
Hi, Philip. So I'm a direct. Sarah's not my name. I'm just using that because I don't want my name to be known.
Nope, that's okay.
I'm a director of nursing in a skilled nursing facility, and I've worked in that industry my entire nursing career. But what I have found is that what the hospitals are doing now when they get these patients in the hospital, if there is a need, if there is a skilled need, they cannot legally discharge them to the streets. So what they do is discharge them to the nursing homes, which is creating a lot of havoc in our nursing homes. You think your grandmother and your grandfather or whoever it is safely tucked away in a nursing home. The population is changing, and it's not that way anymore. It is becoming a housing for homeless people.
Sarah, first of all, I appreciate you picking up the phone, and I understand why you're being Sarah today. So if I ask you a question that hits a little too close to home, it's okay to say you need to err on the side of caution.
Sure.
In your experience, are we seeing criminal miscreants, or are we seeing people who do genuinely need mental health care or custodial care being put into those skilled facilities?
So what we're seeing is a population of people that have a mix of mental illness that is being exacerbated by the use of drugs. So we're seeing people that are demented a lot earlier because of methamphetamines, long-term abuse of all sorts of recreational drugs, coupled with mental illness, and there is criminal element as well. So the nursing home is not the appropriate place for these individuals. I'm not really sure where we go, but a good chunk of our admissions come from that population. And it's a really difficult population to deal with because a nursing home has structure. We have a structure that we deal with. That's how we care for our patients. And homeless people don't necessarily care for structure, so they do have a lot of behaviors that cause a lot of problems in the nursing home. And our hands are tied to what we can and cannot do to meet their needs.
Sarah, would it be, for the sake of your patients and for the sake of your staff, would it make sense for a skilled nursing facility, a parent company? Because I know that there's very small mom and pop organizations. I know there's also nationwide skilled nursing concerns. Would it make sense financially to set up a skilled nursing facility that is in all of its organizational trappings, similar to what you do, but that is exclusively dedicated to handling mentally ill and drug addicted, the homeless and the indigent, who right now are getting filtered in next to grandma and grandpa? Would that be a better solution?
Sure. So some of the nursing homes are turning to behavioral health, but there's none that stand alone like that. So it is a population that's filtering in, but there's no standalone ones right now. And a lot of patients, what I have seen in the past in behavioral facilities is patients that are conserved. Now, I haven't seen any recent patients that are conserved. There used to be people would seek conservatorship. So a 5150 isn't just that you're going to hurt yourself or you're going to hurt someone. You can also be 5150 for what's called a grave disability, which means you can't take care of your needs, right? So generally, when those happen, what they'll release them to is to the nursing homes. And it is really incompatible to have that kind of a patient rooming next to someone who maybe has Alzheimer's or, is just generally old age. And that's what's happening. And I don't feel it's safe, for the staff or our typical nursing home patients. But this is what we're seeing in skilled nursing now.
Sarah, I appreciate very much your expertise on this. If I was to put the scepter in your hand and say, how do we fix this? Do you have a plan? Do you have a suggestion?
I think more people need to move back towards conservatorship through the counties, where they go to court and have conservatorship, that these people are compelled to be somewhere locked and gated until such time that they're not. State of California, we're never going to go that direction again. But unless you take some of these people who are mentally ill, which then they're exacerbating with the drugs, which makes it even more of a volatility, unless you take it and you have them somewhere that's compelling treatment on them, it's never going to change. It's never going to change. And it's only going to get more dangerous with mixing these two populations. We're mixing the very vulnerable with the very volatile.
Sarah, I appreciate your call. I appreciate your insight on this. I think that your idea that in reinstating conservatorship, there need to be facilities that are dedicated to helping these people that you're trying to transition out of homelessness so that you can maintain that separation from an Alzheimer's patient or somebody who's been through that experience. That's an essential consideration. We'll talk a little bit more about what Matt Dildine thinks about this, but I'd love to hear from you at 490-5858 or toll free at 800-776-5858. There is a line here, and it is a line that is directly relevant to the individual liberty of otherwise free Americans. There's also people who can't care for themselves, and that's a burden not just on them, not just on their families, but on all of society. How would you handle this? 490-5858, 800-776-5858. More on the way on the Afternoon Drive on KMJ.
Right now, southbound 41 at Shields, eastbound Shields on the on-ramp there, we've got a collision. And then on southbound 41 north of the 180, a non-injury accident being reported at that location. Then at Visalia, this is Avenue 256 at Road 180. Injury accident being reported there as well. Our next update is at 4:03. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Cal Recycle. Want to make sure your recycling actually gets recycled? Californians are recycling smarter with tips on how to shake out liquid or gunk and sort properly. Visit iRecycleSmart.com to take your recycling to the next level. Do your part. Recycle smart.
On Wednesday, January 18th, for the first time ever, AEW makes their way to the Save Mart Center at Fresno State. The hottest ticket in town. Ring in the new year with AEW as this promises to be one of the biggest events of the year. That was amazing. Don't miss Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, MJF. I'm a generational talent. Saraya. I am the revolution. John Moxley. Get in the ring with me. It's dangerous as all hell. Ryan Danielson. Claudio Castagnoli. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Jamie Hayter, Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, The Acclaimed. Everyone love The Acclaimed. Swerve in Our Glory, Jade, FTR. Top guys out. Tony Storm, Wardlow, Chris Jericho, and the Jericho Appreciation Society. And that's entertainment. Darby Allin, Sting, and many more will be there live. Don't miss AEW Live at the Save Mart Center at Fresno State. Tickets make a great holiday gift and are on sale now. Go to AEWTIX.com right now. Card subject to change.
Hello, I'm Megan with Oasis Adult Day Program at Valley Caregiver Resource Center. Here to remind you about the Holiday Hope Toy Drive going on now through December 9th at Oasis, located at 5377 North Fresno Street. Make this Christmas merry and bright for the young boys and girls at the Marjorie Mason Center. Your donation of new toys, books, and children's clothing will help make a child's dream come true. For more information, call me at 559-224-9121.
Class, I have a question for you. Who's been the number one team in realty in Fresno Clovis since 2011? Who sold over 6,750 homes since 1971? Who has more 5-star reviews on Google and Zillow than anybody? And whose name sounds like a foreign rugby club? The Zuber Team. Z-U-B-E-R. Zuber Team. And their sport is getting your home sold. And they do this with so many innovations. The trade-up program, the instant cash offer, that's a biggie, and also helping with repairs. You got a few things that need to be done, that need to be touched up before you sell? Darren can get a lot of help for your home, and it'll be in great shape. So when it hits the market, you will get every penny that you ask for.
That impeccable team, the Zuber Team, led by Darren and Daryl. Click ZuberTeam.com or Google Zuber Team. I am actually thinking about downsizing. Yeah, so you know who I'm going to use if it comes to that.
License number 1213700.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-600-5536. That's 1-800-600-5536. 1-800-600-5536.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but what about the nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons. Sinusitis, colds, allergies, snoring, things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Over 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying, "Best product I've ever used," and "Amazing, I love my Navage." Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. Navage is good personal hygiene and can help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Start your morning with news and the truth. Fresno's Morning News, 6 to 9 a.m. on KMJ and streaming at KMJNow.com.
It's your afternoon drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi. Listen live online at KMJNow.com or with your smart home devices. The poll that our news partner Fox 26 put up, asking the question, do you think that the Valley would benefit from New York's mental health initiative? Right now, 2/3 are voting yes at KMPH.com. And even the folks who are on the front lines of this recognize there's going to be, if we adopt the New York policy, an infringement on civil liberty. And it's a tough balance to strike. It's an impossible balance to strike. Because I think that Matthew Dildine from the Fresno Rescue Mission hits the nail right on the head, comparing some of our homeless to children. Now, I know that Sarah was very concerned about some of the folks who come into these skilled nursing facilities after being discharged from a hospital and criminal behavior and upstart behavior and rocking the boat for the seniors that they're supposed to be caring for. And I if there is money to be made in providing housing and services for seniors, memory care, convalescent care, all of that, as much as I hate to reduce it to a dollars and cents issue, all things in our society do steer back around to whether or not capitalism is going to support them. There must be money to be made in psychiatric care, in indigent care, in helping these folks who cannot help themselves find the services that they need to be productive members of society, or at the very least to not be a burden on society or a danger to themselves. Now, again, we get into that line, that clear, bright demarcation between homeless people who are victims of drug addiction, who are victims of mental illness, or even just good folks who have suffered some setbacks. And I think that the vast majority of those people, with time, with care, absolutely can be rehabilitated. And then there's the question of the criminal vagrants, the people who just don't want to participate in society according to society's rules. And what do you do with that? It's News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. When we get back, something a little lighter. One town in California named as the best spot in the state to celebrate Christmas. We'll talk about that when we return on KMJ.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJNow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in TuneIn Radio or Google Podcasts.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. It's normal. With CalHope's free and secure mental health resources, it's easy to get the help you and your loved ones need when you need it the most. Call our warm line at 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org today.
As the nights grow longer and the days get colder, growers have to work harder to fill holiday shelves and feed Santa's reindeer and elves. This is Christina Mousson with Gar Bennett. There is definitely a chill in the air, and while we nestle all snug and warm in our beds, growers are working hard with visions of rain in their heads. Rain and cooler weather means there is less time to get fields ready and make repairs. Gar Bennett's CAMs and PCAs don't waste time. They are experts at timing, treating, and designing programs that produce great yields, quality fruit, and don't waste a drop. Whether you've been naughty or nice, or you're looking for the best service, products, or price, call Gar Bennett for the best water, irrigation, nutrition, regulatory, and crop care advice and products at 800-696-6108 and online at garbennett.com. We help growers feed the world at 800-696-6108.
Throughout your journey, you have taken care of yourself and don't expect to stop now. Stay on top of your healthcare needs and let Sante Physicians be your guide. If you're eligible, open enrollment is now available and only takes a few moments to sign up. Sante Physicians is here for your Medicare needs with more resources and locations than any other network in the Valley. Your doctor is here to provide you with the highest quality care, and you can act now by calling 559-234-1393. Sante Physicians, the best doctors, the best choice.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention! If you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes by up to 99%. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-793-1525 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-793-1525. That's 800-793-1525. Again, 800-793-1525.
Survivors of clergy child sexual abuse in California have limited time to seek justice. Survivors have until December 31st, 2022 to take legal action. Contact Jeff Anderson and Associates for a confidential conversation. Call us at 1-800-ITS-TIME. 12011 San Vicente Boulevard, Suite 700, Los Angeles, California. Attorney Advertising.
Celebrating a century of broadcasting. News Talk 580 AM, 105.9 FM. KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Andy Field. The House passing two bills to avoid a rail strike, and the Senate could vote as early as today or tomorrow. ABC News political reporter Brittany Shepard.
People might ask, why does Congress have to get involved at all? Well, because those railway workers couldn't come to an agreement. President Biden said, okay, I'm going to have to force your hand. And they can do this under something called the Railway Labor Act. And in it, it says that union employees who refuse to work after Congress acts will be guilty of doing something called a wildcat strike. And that means their bosses not only could replace them, but they could fire them. And that might be enough pressure to not strike.
The White House says President Biden wants the bills by Saturday. House Ways and Means Committee says the Treasury Department has turned over former President Trump's tax returns. House Democrats making leadership history.
Newly elected Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries said in a statement he's, quote, eternally grateful for the trust my colleagues placed in me with their vote. He went on to say, we stand on the shoulders of historic individuals, pointing to Speaker Nancy Pelosi and other leaders, vowing to look for common ground with Republicans. The 52-year-old will be the first black lawmaker to lead a party in Congress. Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is expected to clinch the speakership when Republicans regain control of the House, though he's working now to unify his party to receive the 218 public votes he needs to hold the gavel. M. Wynn, ABC News, Washington.
Speaking at the Brookings Institution, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says the central bank could start easing up on its aggressive interest rate increases.
It makes sense to moderate the pace of our rate increases as we approach the level of restraint that will be sufficient to bring inflation down. The time for moderating the pace of rate increases may come as soon as the December meeting.
Christine McVie has died. The Fleetwood Mac vocalist, songwriter, and keyboard player was known for songs including You Make Loving Fun. She was 79. This is ABC News.
Attention all business owners who rent or lease space, including storage space. Stop wasting your money paying someone else for your space. You can now save a ton of money and own your own building with the incredible end-of-the-year sale prices from General Steel. That's right, start saving money every month on renting space from others. Just call 888-74-STEEL to see how General Steel can help you save money. Our 50-year structural warranty buildings are custom designed for your needs and save you a ton of money. Call 888-74-STEEL.
Take it from a successful entrepreneur. If you need to expand or start a new business, you need General Steel.
Great team and the competitive pricing is the reason I went with General Steel.
Call 888-74-STEEL now, and you can get any of our popular quick construction structures, including a 40 by 60 foot building or a 50 by 100 clear span building at end of the year savings. Call 888-74-STEEL. That's 888-747-8335. 888-74-STEEL.
Despite high inflation and higher interest rates, the U.S. economy grew at a stronger than expected 2.9% annual rate from July through September. The French president's U.S. tour is underway.
The White House is saying bonjour to French President Emmanuel Macron as part of an official state visit. Macron kicked off the trip to Washington, meeting with Vice President Harris at NASA headquarters.
Mr. President, today we have the occasion to celebrate the cooperation of our two nations in space.
The vice president spent several days with Macron in Paris last year, reinforcing ties between the U.S. and France after a diplomatic spat over submarine technology. President Biden is set to host Macron Thursday for the first post-pandemic state dinner at the White House. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
Portland, Oregon City Council votes to allocate $27 million of the budget to build a network of designated camping areas for homeless people. City also banning street camping. Andy Field, ABC News.
Right now in Fresno, on southbound 41, just north of the 180, we have a report of a non-injury accident. We also have a report of some traffic backup because of that problem. And then Exeter on Avenue 256, Road 180, they're dealing with an injury accident. Our next update is at 4:17. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino. Teresi tackles Fresno and California issues every day. Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
4:05 on your afternoon drive. It's hour 3 at News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Phones open at 490-5858 or toll free at 800-776-5858. You can also play along on Facebook and Twitter at Drive KMJ. El Spicolio checking in. Good to see your name up there, man. Saying that the comment I made about two solutions to end homelessness being Darwinism or humanism is the best analogy he's heard when confronting the homeless problem. I appreciate the compliment very much, man. And unfortunately, I believe it to be true. Half measures accomplish nothing, especially in the short term. Now, the truth is, if you want to deal with homelessness and if you want to deal with criminal vagrancy, which I really do view as two separate things. I don't think that mentally ill people who are unable to care for themselves, who are unable to make the decisions that they need to make to ensure their own health and welfare, fall into the same category as some dope fiend who just doesn't want to operate within the boundaries of society. the longer-term solution is this multi-pronged thing. And this is where we get into, what are the priorities of American voters? What are the priorities of American taxpayers? Because I think that at its root, there really are two things that you start with. And the first, very simply, is reinforcing, supporting, acknowledging family life. How essential is it to have capable, competent, mindful parents in a home? Now, look, I'll be the first one to say a loving home is a loving home. And all of the particulars fall into place after that. But the absolute ideal is always going to be a mother and a father married, treating each other well, providing a good example to their kids, providing a stable home that offers them structure and support and affection and attention and discipline. We love our kids. We all love our kids. If you've got a soul, you love your children. But not everybody who is physiologically capable of making a baby at this point has been taught what it really means and what that responsibility really entails. You know, we're just moving through the holidays, and I know this is a rough comparison, but stick with me, I promise. The point will make sense. We're already hearing from shelters about pet returns. People going and adopting dogs and cats, puppies and kittens, because gosh golly, aren't they cute? And every year at Christmas time, it happens. A bunch of people go out and they adopt an animal. They buy an animal. And they bring it home and they do the big box under the tree and the squealing kids. And 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, a puppy being a puppy's too much. And so off to the shelter goes the animal. A kitten being a kitten is too much. And so off to the shelter goes the animal. And so the shelters bang the drum every year starting at this time, as they should, reminding you that a dog is a decade-long commitment at least. For some breeds, it's a 15-year commitment. And cats can live 2 decades. I had a silver tabby kitten that was given to me by my kindergarten classroom aide. We called her Tigger. Just the most perfect example of a silver tabby feline you've ever met. She was beautiful. She was smart. She was a great hunter. She was incredibly patient with us as kids. And my brother was 3 when we got her. And Tigger passed away in my parents' home. I kid you not, 22 years after we got her. She was ancient. She was so ready to go to kitty heaven by the time came. She was so tired. She was such a good cat. And thank God she was comfortable and she was loved. My mother is the queen of over-caring for animals. And so this cat just got the best of everything and was coddled through the last years of her life. I was married and had my own kids before this kitten that I got when I was in kindergarten passed away. And the shelters are going to repeat that and repeat that and repeat that all the way through the holidays, because there's those of us who have animals, who know animals, who love animals, who understand there's a commitment there. And then there's the folks that you get it in your head. It's a Hallmark moment. And you're visualizing the joy on your kids' faces. And then 2 weeks later, that stupid animal has clawed up my couch. It's chewed up my table leg. It's destroyed the remote. It's done all the things that puppies and kittens do. The kids aren't cleaning up after it. The wife doesn't want to be the one to feed it because that wasn't her bright idea to go adopt an animal. And people get frustrated. and they shuffle off that responsibility. And we'll hear the shelters warn about it and warn about it and warn about it. Why don't we teach that to teenage kids about having babies? And that, by the way, I mean, you guys know this. You've got kids. You've got grandkids. I've got great-grandparents who call in and talk about this stuff. That's not a 20-year commitment. It's the rest of your life. And we don't teach that. We don't impress that upon the young people who are getting to an age where, while they may not be mentally, emotionally, or economically prepared to deal with a child, biologically, they're capable of making one. And so addressing that honestly and seriously, speaking not just to the more delicate sensibilities that we would all prefer be the only public discussion of this, but really talking about what it is, what it means, and how to avoid getting out over your skis when you're not ready. And the other piece is education, period. And this is something that I'm still a little bitter that Terry Sladek lost his reelection bid for the Bullard area trustee in Fresno Unified. We've got a school district that services tens of thousands of students and is performing in the bottom 5% nationwide. We're the world's fourth largest economy here in California. This is the fifth largest city inside that economy. Fresno County in the Central Valley has a gross local product bigger than that of many nations. And yet we've got this school district that's kids are graduating high school. They're being handed diplomas. They can't read. They can't write. They have no idea how to calculate compound interest. They don't have any earthly clue what it means to hold a job, how to interview for a job. They're completely unprepared for life. And the school board's gonna sit there and squabble about nonsense and wokeism. They're gonna push social justice agenda items. They're going to sell it to the public as an effort at equity. They're not going to get back to teaching kids math. And God forbid we teach them any kind of financial responsibility, any understanding of how to balance a checkbook, how to calculate interest, what savings does, what the cost of living really looks like. We aren't doing any of that. We aren't even teaching them how to read. And if you want to solve homelessness, really solve homelessness, acknowledging that there will always be a few people who slip through the cracks, no matter how good of a job we do, there will always be a few people who slip through the cracks. And it falls on both sides. There will always be people who are mentally ill or who are intellectually disabled, who, for whatever reason, don't have that family support. That's tragically always going to exist. As long as they're humans, that'll be a part of the experience. And those people need help. They deserve better than to be left to rot on the street side, I think. And there will always be criminals, people who don't want to operate within the boundaries that the rest of society has agreed upon. And those people need to be treated as the criminals that they are. I'm not sure that a panhandler needs to go to federal prison, but I think that fining them whatever it was that they collected while they stood on the street side and turning that money over to the kinds of entities that provide services for the non-criminal homeless might be a better start. And then once you get past those two things, there's all the other pieces that fall in. Teaching people the value of participating in society, teaching people the value of investing in and caring for their communities, of giving back to their communities. Teaching people how to pick a career path that, while maybe it's not the most emotionally or intellectually rewarding thing, it pays the bills and it lets them pursue all those things that they love at their leisure. But that's a big lift, and that requires a level of leadership we do not have in this country at this time. We've got some really well-intentioned people who are trying to make it better right here in Fresno. I really believe that Jerry Dyer, and I really believe that most of the Fresno City Council genuinely care and genuinely want to see this problem solved. And our schools outside of the Fresno district, I think that you've got people who are in earnest trying to give kids the best possible education that they can with the resources at their disposal and the hurdles that are placed in front of them by the state and federal government. But until we as a society, meaning you and me, as voters and as taxpayers, demand it, require it, and continually fire the people who fail to steer the ship in that direction, ultimately, some of these folks are going to be forced into that Darwinian option, no matter what. It's the afternoon drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. When we get back, we got a little palate cleanser, something a little more appropriate to the holiday fast approaching. Also, a business meeting in Fresno. The mayor, a county supervisor, folks from the city council, and representatives from the Chinese government got together at the Kodiak Club at Chuck Chansey Park. What were they talking about? And which city council member put his foot down and said, Fresno's better than getting into bed with the Chinese Communist Party? The answer might surprise you a little bit. We'll talk about it on the way on KMJ.
In Exeter right now, Avenue 256 and Road 180, injury accident vehicles are now off of the roadway, but there is still some stop and go. And speaking of stop and go, we got plenty of it in Fresno. Southbound 41 starting at Herndon south to almost McKinley. Slow moving traffic. Madera southbound 99 at Avenue 12. Same thing, slow and go traffic. And a hazard just popped up southbound 99 at Belmont. There is a Honda on the right-hand shoulder and appears to have a flat tire causing a hazard there. Next update, 4:33. I'm Greg Lane, KMJ Traffic.
Attention! This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-423-4161. Vehicle Protection Plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-423-4161 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-423-4161. What do you have to lose? Call 800-423-4161. Again, 800-423-4161.
It's time for the Harris Construction 7th Annual Blanket and Coat Drive. Warm someone's heart this winter by collecting new or gently used coats and blankets for men, women, and children. Deliver your donation to any Harris Construction job site or to the office near Peach and McKinley by December 15th. Items will be distributed free of charge by Catholic Charities. From everyone at Harris Construction, thank you for your support of local families in need.
Throughout your journey, you have taken care of yourself and don't expect to stop now. Stay on top of your healthcare needs and let Sante Physicians be your guide. If you are eligible, open enrollment is now available and only takes a few moments to sign up. Sante Physicians is here for your Medicare needs with more resources and locations than any other network in the Valley. Your doctor is here to provide you with the highest quality care, and you can act now by calling 559-234-1393. Sante Physicians, the best doctors, the best choice.
Clean and healthy water is essential. To live your best life, get a LifeSource whole house water system. LifeSource removes bad stuff like chlorine and keeps the good stuff like healthy minerals. You'll look and feel your best with softer skin and hair. Love your water, love your life. And a LifeSource system is maintenance-free. For a limited time, LifeSource will pay your sales tax. Yes, zero sales tax. Call 559-330-1850 or LifeSourceWater.com. LifeSource. Taste and feel the difference.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Wait. Tell me, where'd you get that money?
Oh, this? Oh, man, all this money came from 43money.com right online.
Are you saying you went to 43money.com and got all that money you needed fast?
Man, you know it. I went to 43money.com yesterday and bam, $5,000 was in my account today. Straight up.
Now hold on. 43money.com helped you get $5,000 like that?
Yeah, man, that's right. 43money.com's lenders provide personal loans for up to $5,000 for people like you and me, even if you don't have good credit.
Man, I'm always short on cash. Can 43money.com help me get the money I need fast?
If you need extra money fast, go to 43money.com. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income. Go to 43money.com and you can get the loan you need now. Regardless of your credit, go to 43money.com to get the money you need fast. Type www.43money.com directly into the address bar. That's 43money.com. Again, 43money.com. 43money.com.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202 now. I'm here with spokesman for the firm, John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call in.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here with you. We always enjoy answering the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, give us a call right now. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now to speak with a live agent for free. Call 800-843-4202.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
It's the afternoon drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. My name is Philip Teresi. Glad you're here. Phone's open for your calls at 490-5858 and toll free at 800-776-5858. Told you guys we have a little palate cleanser here before we get back to serious business. I kind of like this. TripToDiscover.com does trip planning suggestions. They've got resources, and they just released a list of the 21 best small towns to visit for Christmas. And only one town in California made the list. Some of the others, briefly, include Branson, Missouri, who claim to be known as America's Christmas tree city, which I'm almost positive is Sanger. They knock it out of the park. Some of the photos they took were beautiful. Lancaster, Pennsylvania, a small town in the heart of Pennsylvania, Dutch country. Lancaster boasts a festive atmosphere amongst the Amish farms. That could be cool. But it's cold. Woodstock, Vermont, another one. Very picturesque. That's an Instagrammer's dream. And then you get to Solvang. If you're trying to place it, Santa Ynez Valley in Santa Barbara wine country. So about an hour outside LA. They've got dozens of boutiques selling traditional Danish items, including clogs. Something that my father's ancestors will never get away from, wood shoes. And Ebelskivers, which if you've never had, are amazing. And the whole town's decked out. And it's like they started the day after Thanksgiving, and this goes all the way through the first of the year. They do Yule Fest all month long, and parades, musical performances, a nightly light show. They've got an annual nativity production that is now 40 years old that brings performers together to do a live retelling of the story of Christmas. And this is the part that really caught my attention. At the end of the month, all of the residents gather for a massive Christmas tree burn. It's not just a bookend to the holiday season, it's also a important demonstration about fire danger. It's a pagan Yule burn. That sounds amazing. So they say that there's lodging options that range from like cheap overnight motels to luxurious resorts, options for every budget. And they also, the correction here, it's not just an hour out of LA, it's about a 2.5 hour drive from Los Angeles. But if you happen to be listening in the South Valley, that still makes it a daytime destination. But they do say, keep in mind that most of the town goes to sleep when the sun sets. So if you're headed to Solvang, go early, get there early in the day. That's fantastic. And the Yule Fest website, they've got, if this got your attention, if you're looking for something to do, they have a comprehensive breakdown of all the stuff going on, times, locations, all of it. And there's the nightly light music show, photos with Santa, candlelight tours. They do a tree lighting ceremony, Yule Fest parade, jazz band, harmony chorus, an artisanal marketplace, the Nativity Spectacular, a Christmas lights tour, Danish dancers, a maker's market, and then, of course, the Solvang tree burn at the Mission parking lot. That might be the one that I drive down for. That's on January 6th, and they do it right at sunset. That could be a real party if they're doing it old school. Post the link up so you can find it if you're interested on Facebook and Twitter at Drive KMJ. David Taub over at GV Wire sent me this story, and it's starting to pop up across the local media landscape. A local business group hosted a Chinese delegation. They got together at the Kodiak Club at Chuck Chancey Park, the Fresno County Economic Development Commission, the mayor, Fresno County Supervisor Steve Brandow, Fresno City Councilman Mike Carbasi, Fresno State President Saul Jimenez Sandoval, and they were there to talk about trade. They also took off and visited some food manufacturing facilities here in Fresno County. The CEO of the Fresno County Economic Development Corporation, Leanne Eager, says that the Chinese delegation do have connections and some businesses that are very interested in our ag tech industry and what that might look like. Far be it from me to second guess our public stewards. I don't think that I would share the technology behind a mechanical pencil with a Chinese delegation. There is no nation on earth with a more prolific history of intellectual property theft than the Chinese Communist government. None. I don't agree with Miguel Arias a lot. We're at odds frequently. To his credit, that's never stopped him from picking up the phone and defending his position. And by the way, we did reach out to Councilman Arias to try and get him on the show. I wanted to talk with him about this and about the Old Armenian town situation downtown, which falls into his council district. And as yet, I haven't heard back, but I'm going to continue to work on it. Maybe I need to hit him on Twitter. Anyways, Arias tweeted, this went out yesterday. Today, I declined the invitation to meet with the China delegation seeking to do business in our city. The recent Chinese protests are the latest example of a communist country placing more value on business interest than human rights. The city of Fresno is better than that. And with it, he included a screenshot of a half dozen stories about the police response to protests in China, the dangerous territory warnings, the calls for Xi Jinping to resign over the outcry over zero COVID lockdowns. China swings a big stick economically. They're a player on the world stage. I believe that President Trump was exactly right in treating China as an enemy nation, as a hostile government. Now, I don't think that Chinese people living in America are anti-America. I don't even think that the people of China, the citizenry of China, are specifically and overtly hostile to our interests. I believe that the Chinese Communist government absolutely is, dangerously so, pathologically so. I'm torn between the principled stand that Councilmember Arias took, that I'm about 75% in agreement with, and the recognition that while I think it would be a terrible mistake to share any of our technology with them, agricultural or otherwise, ever again, that's a huge market. And if you're a farmer, if you're a manufacturer, you can't ignore China. And I cannot find it in me to be angry at business concerns who want to sell their product in one of the world's largest marketplaces. And so some measure of diplomatic connection for the purpose of improved trade relations to me seems to be extremely reasonable. I'm having a hard time getting mad at Arias over this. And the fact that he didn't attend didn't hurt the ability of the mayor, the councilman, and the supervisor sitting down and finding out what it is these folks want to bring to the table. And I can't be mad at farmers and manufacturers who want to sell to China. It's a place to go make money. And if that's the calculation, it would be silly to ignore it. But man, China is our biggest threat. They want to end American primacy on the world stage. They want to replace the dollar with their own currency as the default currency of international trade. It is the belief of Xi Jinping and the rulers of the Chinese Communist Party that China should be the one and only world superpower. And they're willing to cut our throats, economically or otherwise, to accomplish that. It's the afternoon drive at News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ. When we get back, we're going to talk about a lawsuit being filed by a Walmart employee who was present for a mass shooting that she says she tried to warn management about. We'll cover that on the way on KMJ.
In Visalia on Avenue 256 Road 180, got an injury accident. One of the persons involved has been transported to the hospital. It's still not cleared up in that area, but some tow trucks are there, so hopefully they can get the roadway cleared here pretty quick. Also, southbound 99 at Belmont on the on-ramp there is a disabled Honda causing a hazard on the shoulder. Next update is at 4:47. Greg Lee with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code DRIVER for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code DRIVER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code DRIVER for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
Amanda Nugent Devine, licensed marriage and family therapist, CEO of Kingsview.
Feelings are not facts, no matter how compelling. We can feel really good about something that is harmful to us, and we can feel really bad about something that is good for us. Feelings provide information and texture to life. They help us mobilize quickly when danger is near, and they help us communicate with others so our actions make sense. But they do not always represent the truth. Feelings are, for lack of a better word, processed through filters that include a myriad of things such as memories, brain chemistry, intellectual ability, culture, personal experience, past trauma, physical disposition, mental health, and influence from substances, just to name a few. This means that you and I can experience the same thing, hear the same thing, learn the same thing, and feel differently about it. The bottom line, enjoy your feelings for all the good they bring you, but question them if they start leading you down a destructive path.
The Mental Health Minute with Amanda Nugent Devine is sponsored by Kingsview.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Make better hiring your first New Year's resolution. Indeed's all-in-one hiring platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates from start to finish. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Teresi tackles Fresno and California issues every day. Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
It's the afternoon drive. I'm Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Worldwide, you can listen at KMJNow.com. And if you missed any part of the show, or any part of the Ray Appleton program, or any part of Broski and Musan, or the CGP, or where have you been? Check out the podcast section at KMJNow.com. WAVY is reporting from Chesapeake, Virginia. One of the employees who suffered that mass shooting at a Walmart last week has filed a $50 million lawsuit against the company. Danya Prialo, I believe the name is pronounced, claims that she submitted a complaint about the gunman 2 months prior to the shooting that took the lives of 6 Walmart employees. A 31-year-old store supervisor fatally shot 6, wounded several others before he died of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound, according to police. Danya had been working at the Walmart Supercenter near Battlefield Boulevard in Chesapeake for over a year. She was working the night of the shooting and claims to have narrowly avoided having been shot. The lawsuit was filed by firm Morgan & Morgan 1 week to the day after the shooting. The lawsuit enumerates an alleged pattern of disturbing behavior by the suspect leading up to the mass shooting, including making bizarre, inappropriate, and rude comments about Danya's age, gender, financial situation, and her appearance. The lawsuit says bullets whizzed by the plaintiff's face and left side, barely missing her. She witnessed several coworkers being brutally murdered on either side of her. She looked at one of her coworkers right in the eyes after she'd been shot in the neck. She saw the bullet wound, the blood rushing out of it, and the shocked look on her coworker's helpless face. The lawsuit alleges that the shooter had a personal vendetta against several Walmart employees, and he kept a kill list of potential targets prior to the shooting. The lawsuit also states that Danya had submitted a formal complaint on a Walmart Global Ethics statement form indicating that the suspected shooter had, quote, bizarrely and inappropriately commented on her age. The allegation says, quote, isn't your lady clock ticking? Shouldn't you be having kids? She says the shooter also harassed her for being poor and being short. She says that, if you'll excuse a little coarse language, He also had a habit of calling her a bitch. The lawsuit goes on to say that despite the suspect's long-standing pattern of disturbing and threatening behavior, Walmart knew or should have known about the disturbing and threatening behavior, but failed to terminate the suspect, failed to restrict his access to common areas, failed to conduct a thorough background investigation, and failed to subject him to a mental health evaluation. The complaint also alleges that the alleged shooter repeatedly made veiled threats of violence, saying that people will, quote, remember his name, and asking employees if they'd received their active shooter training. I've been pretty lucky. Most of the workplaces I've been in, folks act right. Yeah, there's always a knucklehead somewhere, but some of this is probably, I'm a middle-aged straight guy who dresses in a pretty nondescript fashion and has a habit of yelling at people who bother me. So I haven't had a lot of experiences with coworkers acting like nutballs. And I certainly haven't had a lot of experiences with coworkers being aggressive towards me. Not to say it's never happened. My second day working as a junior under apprentice tile setter's helper, I had a guy straight up threaten to kill me because he was mad because I went and did something that apparently he thought he was supposed to do. Later on, it turned out the man had a drug problem, and the boss took him aside and read him the riot act for picking on the new guy. I don't know if I would necessarily interpret a Walmart graveyard shift clock puncher, with all respect to the folks that work retail, I don't know that I would necessarily interpret this guy's inarguably inappropriate comments about a woman getting old or a woman being short or talking about people's financial situations. I don't know if that would set off my alarm bell for ruh-roh, we got an active shooter in the building. Now, it should have been dealt with. He should have been talked to. And if management was paying attention to somebody who behaved that way, the way that management should, maybe they would have picked up on some of this other behavior. But isn't your lady clock ticking? Shouldn't you be having kids? While stupid and rude and inappropriate. And ladies, I may be completely nuts here, but in the pantheon of crummy things and inappropriate things said to women, it's not exactly multiple MIGs territory. Calling a coworker, again, forgive a little coarse language, calling a coworker a bitch, now you've really crossed a line. Because now you're getting into name calling. You're not just being stupid and making inappropriate observations. Now you're bullying. Now, when you get to the allegation that this guy repeatedly made veiled threats of violence, and especially saying people will remember his name if he was ever fired. That's it. You're fired. You're done. If that's the first thing I hear, adios, bro. Now, she's got to go and she's got to prove these claims. She's going to have to produce the paperwork that she generated on this, the reports that she filed, any text messages, voicemails, or other communications with her superiors. I don't know how we arrived at the $50 million number, but considering what she's been through, I'm not weeping too hard for Walmart. I've never had somebody who's openly behaved that way. I've had coworkers who've gotten a little spicy. Like I said, there was the one guy at the tile shop, and certainly in radio. Here's a big surprise: radio people have egos. I know that's probably shocking. I'm watching Greg making the what face over there. Radio people have egos. My non-clinical diagnosis is benign low-grade narcissism. And it's all of us. It's all of us. And I don't mean it as an insult. I absolutely include myself in that. But you've got to be a little bit crazy to think that any 10 people care what you think about anything, much less that any great number of people are going to sit and listen to you talk for, hours a day. It's crazy. It's a weird way to make a living. I'm very grateful that you guys stick around and you let me do it. I enjoy it. But when you get a bunch of people who all think that they're the most interesting person in the room together, there can be friction. And I've worked places where it's gotten a little gnarly, it's gotten a little snarky, it's gotten a little mean. I've never felt threatened. Never, ever. Even when I was actually being threatened. Because radio people are also frequently malnourished because we live off break room pizza. I cannot imagine an employer of Walmart size or any size not responding to an employee calling another employee sexist names. And I can't conceive of a manager at any level, at any sort of concern, ignoring repeated threats of violence in the environment in America today. I'm curious to see how this case proceeds. I'm curious to see how much pushback Walmart gives, if any, or if it turns out that there was a failure with upper management in the store. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Philip Teresi, glad you're here.
In Visalia, eastbound 198 at the southbound 63 connector, 9-inch accident. It is causing some delays and some slowdown in that area. Southbound 99 at Belmont, a Honda is on the side of the road causing a hazard, what appears to have been a tire problem. Our next update, 5:03. Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Terms and conditions apply. Visit ISSA online for details.
Hey, how'd you like to get paid to work out? Yes, I said get paid to work out. Now you can with ISSA, the global leader in personal fitness certification. If you're interested in a money-making career in fitness as a personal trainer, now is your time because ISSA is guaranteeing you will get a job. That's right. There's a huge demand for certified personal trainers right now. So once you get ISSA certified, they guarantee you will get a job. Just text CHAMP to 323232 now to get started for free. You do everything at your own pace and 100% online. Live your life on your terms. Get certified and train like you want, full-time, at a gym, at home, or as a side hustle, whatever works for you. Don't wait another day to start your career in fitness. Get certified and start making money fast, guaranteed. Just text CHAMP to 323232 right now to get started with your ISSA certification for free. Text the word CHAMP to 323232.
I know exactly how you feel. You're sitting there at the gas pump wondering, am I ever going to have a regular meal again? Because you're cutting out all the good food because you can't afford the gas, right? Wait until you see your next PG&E bill. No more meals out and no more hair because you're going to be pulling that out as well, too. Do what I did. Planet Solar. When you have a solar system put in by Planet Solar, you literally lock in your energy price forever. Don't you wish it could be that way at the gas pump? Sorry, but you can't do that there. But you can do it for your home with Planet Solar, and it all began for them right here in Central California. One of the things I really liked about these guys is their financing. Don't let the rate hike scare you away from going with Planet Solar. And they are really quick and good and efficient on installation, and they have become masters at putting together a complete solar package with a solar battery. So you've got the juice when PG&E says, no, you don't need it because we're trying to conserve to save the world. Click planetsolar.com. Do that. Call them at 228-9245.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention parents with a child diagnosed with autism or severe ADHD. A recent congressional study found dangerously high levels of toxic heavy metals like mercury, lead, and arsenic in many popular baby food brands. Brands such as Gerber, Plum Organics, Beech-Nut, Walmart, and more. Some contain toxic metals 200 times the maximum safe levels set by the FDA. Heavy metals in baby food are known to be severe neurotoxins, and exposure to them at a young age can cause lifelong brain damage and neurodevelopmental disorders like autism and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. If you fed baby food to your child and they were later diagnosed with autism, autism spectrum disorders, or ADHD, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Call today for your free consultation. 800-728-1993. Don't wait. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-728-1993. That's 800-728-1993. Again, 800-728-1993.
Hi, this is Ron Johnson from Utah. After 10 weeks of taking Andro 400, I lost 13 pounds and my waist went from 36 to 33. That was 8 years ago. I continue to take Andro 400 and I've maintained my weight at 172, gained muscle and energy. I'm 63 now and feel better than I have in 30 years.
Hi, this is Sherry. My husband started taking Andro 400 a few months ago, and wow, has he ever changed. He's no longer a couch potato, and he actually likes to go out and do things again. Best of all, he lost his gut, and is he looking good. All I have to say about that is...
Andro 400, the natural way to increase your testosterone. Guys, if you'd like to lose your belly fat, gain energy and muscle, and feel like you did years ago, try Andro 400, the safe, effective, and inexpensive way to boost your testosterone. Andro400.com.
You can't always invite everyone to your holiday table, but you can give the perfect gift. And for some, the perfect gift is a meal on the table. By donating just $1, Central California Food Bank can provide up to 4 meals for those experiencing hunger in Central California. Donate now at ccfoodbank.org.
Live. Local. KMJ.
Rolling up on 5 o'clock. It's News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Philip Teresi hanging out with you until the great one, Mark Levin, rolls in at 6 o'clock. Interesting story here from the Hill. More than 100 U.S. lawmakers are now pledging their support for affordable housing legislation. I don't know how they're going to squeeze this in before the end of the session. They are suggesting a bill that they say could lead to the development of 500,000 starter homes in struggling communities over the next decade. It's called the Neighborhood Homes Investment Act. It's been introduced in both the House and the Senate, and it would offer a tax incentive to developers to minimize their risk when rebuilding or rehabilitating existing housing. In some areas of the country, of course, the cost of rehabilitating or building a house can exceed the eventual sale price. This bill, they say, will fill the value gap up to 35% of eligible development cost for new homes. Right now, the bill has the support of 124 lawmakers spread across 37 states, and the lawmakers stress urgency in passing the bill before the end of the current session. Rob Portman, lead Republican sponsor of the bill from Ohio, says it's critical we get the Neighborhood Homes Investment Act over the finish line. The bill would give us a critical new tool in the fight against rising housing costs, drive investment for more homes in the communities that need it most, and work alongside other powerful tools such as the New Markets Tax Credit Opportunity Zones and the Low-Income Housing Tax Credit to unleash investment and revitalize communities across the nation. Now, they talk about the creation of almost 800,000 jobs, $42 billion, $43 billion in wages and salaries, and almost $30 billion in federal, state, and local tax revenues and fees. A recent poll shows most Americans agree that all levels of government should be working to ensure affordable housing. Here's a thought. Let's take the bureaucracies that manage the low-income housing tax credit, the new markets tax credit, opportunity zones, low-income housing tax credit, and the bureaucracy that would inevitably arise to administer the Neighborhood Homes Investment Act. And let's just give that back to taxpayers. Let's not spend more taxpayer money trying to alleviate the burden on taxpayers. Now, I do have an idea for how we can improve the housing situation, although it'll make some folks, especially folks who have become landlords, unhappy. But I have a suggestion. Maybe we'll get to that when we get back. We got an updated headlines on the way from the ABC Newsroom. Traffic with Greg Lane and your trending topics at 5 o'clock, all on the way on the afternoon drive on KMJ.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-600-5536. That's 1-800-600-5536. 1-800-600-5536.
Attention! If you've been classified as a high-risk driver due to DUI, DWI, or tickets for aggressive driving and are required to get expensive and hard-to-find SR22 auto insurance, then you must listen to this message because Serenity can help. We're the largest insurance company in the U.S., specializing in SR22 auto insurance and focused on serving the needs of customers classified by the state as high-risk drivers. We help people get back on their feet by providing easy-to-get, low-cost SR22 insurance that anyone can afford. If you need SR22 auto insurance, or if you have it now and are paying too much, you need to call us today for your free quote at 800-279-7816. Our specialists are standing by waiting for your call. We understand people make mistakes, and we're here to help by making SR22 insurance easy to get and affordable for everyone. The call and quote are free. Call us now at 800-279-7816. That's 800-279-7816. Again, 800-279-7816.
Folks, there have been some fumbles on the way to the big game, but he's not getting some help to get it done tonight. Here's the throw. He might go all the way. Touchdown!
Regain and optimize your sexual performance. See what Pacific Men's Clinic can do to help that veteran touchdown. Pacific Men's Clinic's safe and pain-free, clinically proven procedure breaks up plaque and stimulates the growth of healthy new blood vessels. Call for your free consultation now at 559-550-6771. That's 559-550-6771.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
News Talk 580 AM, 105.9 FM, KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station.
KMJ.
The latest from ABC News. I'm Andy Field.
The Senate could vote as early as tomorrow on 2 bills to avoid a strike by the nation's railway workers, adopting a tentative deal that rail companies and employees reached in September, and then adding 7 more days of sick pay. Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana says he's reluctant to support them.
I have some questions, and they're going to need to be answered before I support intervening in a private contractual dispute.
Illinois Democrat Dick Durbin says he will support both bills.
We definitely don't need that to happen, so Congress needs to act and act quickly with the White House.
White House says President Biden wants those bills by Saturday. The House Ways and Means Committee saying it's gotten former President Trump's tax returns after last week's Supreme Court ruling that cleared the final objections. Police in Moscow, Idaho have been tight-lipped about the investigation into the murders of 4 University of Idaho students.
The lead prosecutor in Moscow, Idaho is now indicating that maybe the victims weren't targeted, but the home was targeted. In a one-on-one interview with ABC News, Police Chief James Fry won't define targeted, but says the killer was at the home for a reason.
I'm going to stand by what we've said all along. We believe this is a targeted attack.
But he is refusing to give any information about what evidence they do or don't have and is asking for the families of the victims to trust police. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Prince William and Princess Kate are in Boston for a 3-day visit that will end with the 2022 Earthshot Prize Award ceremony, which was inspired by former President Kennedy's famous moonshot speech.
Like President Kennedy, Catherine and I firmly believe that we all have it in ourselves to achieve great things, and that human beings have the ability to lead, innovate, and problem solve.
This is ABC News.
Paid for by government.com.
Have you heard? A recent stash of 1904 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1904 O silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck. This is a key date for silver dollar collectors, and only a limited quantity are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call government at 1-800-895-7664, and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1904 O Morgan silver dollar featuring the iconic O mint mark of the New Orleans Mint. The final year of production, but with limited quantity, you must call now. These 1904 O silver coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 117 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-895-7664. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-895-7664 now to secure your 1904 O Morgan silver dollars before they sell out. That's 1-800-895-7664.
DoorDash eliminating more than 1,200 corporate jobs. That's about 6% of its total workforce. The delivery service saying it hired too many people when demand increased during the pandemic. A new American Heart Association study finds more people die from heart attacks during the last week of December than any other time of the year. Armed robbers attempt a dog napping in Houston.
12-year-old Cameron Lewis was home alone with his little brother when a pair of masked men kicked down the door.
The closest thing I could think of was hiding in the closet.
Then Cameron called 911.
A break-in and 2 men are in the house.
Cameron's mom rushed home, but the home invaders were gone.
They just got what they came to get and left.
The family's 5 French bulldog puppies, each worth up to $5,000. She's hoping to get the dogs back, but in the meantime, she couldn't be more proud of her son. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Ohio electric vehicle startup Lordstown Motors is shipping out its first batch of its endurance pickup trucks. Andy Field, ABC News.
On the roadways right now, we head to Visalia, eastbound 198 at the southbound 63 connector. A non-injury accident there. Also, we have right now up by Hume Lake. This is near Hume Lake on the 180. Got an injury accident being reported and some lane blockages as well. Next update, 517. This is Greg Lane, KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Now, the Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi. Philip Teresi. Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
5:05 News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Good afternoon and welcome to hour number 4 of the Wednesday installment of your Afternoon Drive. Phone numbers remain 490-5858 and toll-free 800-776-5858. Follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Drive KMJ, and watch the show streaming live on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch.tv, also at Drive KMJ. Joshua Weekly stands by to screen your calls this afternoon as we get into your trending topics at 5 o'clock. We started the program with today's Daily Buzz question at KMJNow.com. Have you ever been the victim of a scam or fraud? You can answer the Daily Buzz question at KMJNow.com. It's sponsored by the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Centers. 5 vehicles rented by the United States Secret Service caught fire at the Nantucket Memorial Airport following President Joe Biden's Thanksgiving break. The 5 vehicles were all different makes and models: Chevy Suburban, Ford Explorer, Infiniti QX80, a Ford Expedition, and a Jeep Gladiator. The Expedition did have a recall on it for the connections to the battery, suggesting the fires may have been caused by that unresolved recall. Fresno County Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer Tony Botti joined the show to give us an update on the search for Ulysses Carr. Mr. Carr was last seen around 8 a.m. on November 25th near the 3500 block of West Muscat in southwest Fresno. Mr. Carr is described as a black male, 5'6", 160 pound, with gray hair and brown eyes. Tony Botti suggested some folks had compared him to Morgan Freeman in appearance with the color of his hair. Mr. Carr was last seen wearing a black hooded sweatshirt, blue jeans, and gray Crocs. And Mr. Carr has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. If you have any tips, contact the Fresno County Sheriff's Office at 600-3111, 600-3111. The Federal Trade Commission alleges that Google and iHeartMedia aired nearly 29,000 ads featuring iHeartRadio personalities touting their positive personal experiences with Google's Pixel 4 phone when the purported endorsers had not used the product. The state settlements impose a total of $9.4 million in financial penalties. Arizona, California, Georgia, Illinois, and Massachusetts, along with New York, all announced settlements with Google and iHeartMedia. Texas also has their own settlement with iHeart. The former warden of an abuse-plagued federal women's prison known as the Rape Club went on trial Monday. Ray J. Garcia, who retired after the FBI found nude photos of inmates on his government-issued phone last year, is among 5 workers charged with abusing inmates at the Federal Correctional Institution in Dublin, California. He's accused of molesting inmates and forcing them to pose naked in their cells. New York City's Mayor Eric Adams has directed police and emergency workers to hospitalize people who are deemed mentally ill even against their own will. This drastic step to address the mental health crisis raises many questions like how this will affect other cities with significant homeless and mental illness issues. Fresno and Madera counties both collectively have 4,216 people experiencing homelessness, and of that amount, over 2,300 live on the streets. If you're looking for a winter getaway and you're hoping to stay in a quaint town right out of a made-for-TV Hallmark movie, you won't have to drive too far. Solvang, California was listed as California's best town to visit for Christmas, according to TripsToDiscover.com. The village, located in the heart of the Santa Ynez Valley in Santa Barbara County wine country, is a sleepy town with European architecture and sensibilities. A group of Fresno elected and business leaders met with a Chinese delegation Monday to discuss trade and our agricultural technology. Not everybody was happy about the local level diplomacy, though. The local delegation meeting with Consul General Zhang Jianmen included Mayor Jerry Dyer, Councilmember Mike Carbasi, Supervisor Steve Brandow, and California State University Fresno President Saul Jimenez Sandoval. Council member Miguel Arias declined an invitation to the meeting criticizing the event. An employee who survived the mass shooting at a Walmart in Chesapeake, Virginia last week has filed a $50 million lawsuit against the company, claiming she submitted a complaint about the gunman 2 months prior to the shooting that took the lives of 6 Walmart employees. The lawsuit lists the suspect's alleged pattern of disturbing behavior leading up to the deadly mass shooting, including making bizarre, rude, and inappropriate comments about the plaintiff's age, gender, socioeconomic status, and appearance. The Neighborhood Homes Investment Act, introduced in both the House and the Senate, would offer a tax incentive to developers to minimize their risk when building or rehabilitating existing housing. The bill currently has the support of 124 lawmakers across 37 states, and lawmakers have stressed the urgency to pass this bill before the end of the current legislative session. It's your trending topics at 5 o'clock. For those stories and a lot more, get the podcast with Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, iHeart. Anywhere you like to listen. Just search for KMJ's Afternoon Drive or head to kmjnow.com. Hit the podcast tab. Not only will you find me, but you'll find all kinds of great content from the rest of the KMJ lineup. 511 now on KMJ. And steering back towards this bright idea from the Congress to hopefully stimulate the development of 500,000 starter homes over the next decade. The Neighborhood Homes Investment Act, again, it's about offering tax incentives to developers to minimize their risk when they build or rehabilitate housing. Right now, it's estimated that the cost of rehabilitating or building a home at that price point could exceed the eventual sale price. The bill is intended to fill the so-called value gap up to 35% of eligible development costs for new homes. Now think about that for just a minute. A tax incentive that would cover up to 35% of the development cost for a new home. Maybe if we stopped taxing people to death and allowed American people and American businesses to spend their money in the way that the market dictates, we would see a lower price point and we would see more affordable housing. Maybe. The other piece of this, and this idea is going to be unpopular in some circles, and I understand that. Disallow the purchase of single-family homes by foreign nationals, investment groups, or professional landlords. I understand apartment complexes, condo situations. That's a different story. How much of our housing inventory would get freed up if we didn't have businesses, corporations? I have an article from the Wall Street Journal. I may dig it up and share it with you guys tomorrow, talking about robo-buyers. There's corporations who have built software that go out and go through real estate listings, go through MLS listings, and buy houses sight unseen. They send in a rehab crew to render the house rentable under the law, and then they put it up on a website and they rent it out. And if you need help with something, they have some contractors on speed dial. You make a request. You never see your landlord. You never talk to your landlord. You just send a check off, and they minimize their cost to make it as profitable as possible to snap up available housing and turn it into rentals. Now, I don't have a problem with somebody who gets themselves into a financial position to move up the food chain, hanging on to their starter home, turning it into a rental. I don't have a problem with an individual who wants to buy a group of houses and use it for passive income, for an individual, for a human being. But when you've got foreign nationals, and especially when you have institutional investors going in and gobbling up all of the housing inventory, yeah, it's a great profit opportunity. There's no doubt about it. The housing situation being what it is, boy, oh boy, you can cover that stroke on a mortgage, no problem. And if you're big enough, if you've got the scratch that you don't have to borrow, it's just money coming through the door. Why are we selling houses to things that aren't people? If we have a housing crisis in this country, why are we allowing foreign nationals? Now, I'm not talking about somebody who's living there. If you're in this country and you're going to school or you're participating in our economy and you're going to live in that house, I understand why you'd want to buy it. Let the equity build and have the autonomy to function like a full-fledged participant in the American economy. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about some Chinese bank coming into Fresno and buying up starter homes because for the cost of a rehab and the growing but still manageable interest rate on a mortgage, it becomes a revenue stream for the Chinese government. And frankly, I don't care if we're talking about the Chinese government or if we're talking about Great Britain. No foreign-anchored concern should own a house in the United States of America. And I know there's investors who are going to be mad at me for saying that. And I understand. And I think that the fact that it's even a possibility that somebody who doesn't live here and has maybe never even been to this country could claim to own a home. While our housing, regardless of the condition of the housing market, but certainly given the situation that we're in today, it's insane. Go to Beijing, make an offer on a piece of property. See if they'll sell you a house or let you have an apartment. Go to Qatar, Dubai, Saudi Arabia. See if they'll let an American own a house there. Especially if you're not going to visit, you're not going to be there. You're just going to buy it and turn it into an Airbnb. If we simply cut out foreign nationals and foreign banks, you've got to be American and you've got to bank in America. The housing market would change overnight. And I say this as somebody who knows full well that the minute that we even begin to do something like that, the value of my house is going to change, and it's not going to change in a way that makes me super duper happy. I got a nice little chunk of equity going now. I'm really proud of that. I'm really happy about that. It's security for me and my family. And I don't want to give that up. I don't want to turn that over. But the inflated cost of housing and the fact that there's programs, not even human beings, just bots going out and snapping up inventory, which means driving up prices in any economy, whether they participate in it or not, whether they suffer from it or not. It seems insane. And the fact that we've got the ability to ease off as much as 35% of the cost of developing property by giving tax breaks. I know the builders aren't surprised to hear it. Were you? It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Something strange brewing in San Francisco with a new plan for the police department. Curious to get your take on lethal robots being deployed. That's not a joke. It's not a reference to a sci-fi movie. It's going to be policy in the city by the bay soon. This is News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
On State Route 180 by Hume Road near the lake there is an injury accident, and apparently there is going to be EMS coming from Reedley, so they should be arriving very soon to take somebody to the hospital there. But the roadway, there is definitely some problems getting around that situation right now. We'll keep you posted if and when that gets open. By say eastbound 198 at southbound 63 connector, cleaned up from a non-injury accident. Next update, 5:33. I'm Greg Lane, KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
We all have that person who is hard to buy for. Well, Thomas & Tractor Company in Firebaugh is making it easy for you. Anything John Deere they have, from the John Deere compact utility tractors to a large showroom with parts, toys, hats, safes, boots, and apparel for the entire family. Come in today and see our full lineup of Ariat boots and clothing for all of your holiday shopping needs at Thomas & Tractor Company. Family owned and operated for over 55 years. Thomas & Tractor Company in Fireball, where superior service is standard equipment.
Throughout your journey, you have taken care of yourself and don't expect to stop now. Stay on top of your healthcare needs and let Sante Physicians be your guide. If you're eligible, open enrollment is now available and only takes a few moments to sign up. Sante Physicians is here for your Medicare needs with more resources and locations than any other network in the Valley. Your doctor is here to provide you with the highest quality care, and you can act now by calling 559-234-1393. Sante Physicians, the best doctors, the best choice.
I'm Chris Walls, and I'm a truck driver from Missouri. For 13 hours a night, I sit in my truck and I drive. Out of boredom, I'll stop and eat. If I'm not doing fast food, I guarantee there's a bag of chips open on my dashboard. Along with that, I'm good for about 4 liters of soda a night. That was all until Andro 400. I started out 4 months ago weighing 341 pounds, and since taking Andro 400, I have dropped 45 pounds. I'm sleeping better. There's no cravings. My knee pains went away. I've had some lower back issues, and I've noticed that went away, and I can only contribute that to Andro 400. One thing that Andro 400 said on the radio ad says it attacks belly fat. Well, let me tell you, it did. I've lost 6 inches. This product really does work.
So guys, if you'd like to experience similar results, then get Andro 400, the safe, natural, and inexpensive way to boost your testosterone. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1979. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
Do you have a pet with a medical need? Call Caring for Creatures Veterinary Hospital at 559-997-1121 or visit kkvetservices.com. Caring for Creatures Veterinary Hospital was voted Best Vet Hospital in Kings County 2022. We see all species, from small domestic animals to exotics. If your pet has fur, feathers, or scales, we care for them all. Call today, 559-997-1121.
Going halfway isn't the best way. For instance, would you give your child half a bike helmet?
You sure this is safe?
Or go out in a storm with half an umbrella?
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Would you settle for half a haircut?
I don't think we're done.
Don't go halfway, especially with your immunity to COVID-19. Stay up to date with your vaccines and boosters. Visit myturn.ca.gov to find one near you. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
.524 on your afternoon drive. News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi. Phone's open for your calls at 490-5858 and toll free at 800-776-5858. We'll get to the San Francisco story in just a minute, but a little breaking news as a murder story out of Clovis that stretches all the way back into 2016. Finally arrives at a conclusion. Dave Thomas McCann, now 55, appeared in court via video from Atascadero State Hospital. He's been locked up in the psychiatric facility since a psychiatrist found him incompetent to stand trial back in February of 2019. His competency was restored 9 months after that, but he's remained at the hospital. McCann struck a plea deal with Fresno County prosecutors. You may recall that he murdered his wife and his mother-in-law. Tierney Cooper McCann, 37, her mother Judith Cooper, 68. The wife had tried to get a temporary restraining order against McCann and was able to do so. And on Mother's Day of 2016, McCann broke through the front door of his former home out near Willow and Nees. McCann grabbed his wife, cut her throat, told his mother-in-law, "You're next," and then stabbed her repeatedly. Another person in the house escaped, called the police from a neighbor's house. There were victim impact statements made, and McCann himself asking for forgiveness in court today as he received 52 years to life in state prison in keeping with the plea deal that he struck with Fresno County prosecutors. He took a no contest on 2 counts of murder plus an enhancement for using a knife. Now, he's 55 years old. So that 52-year run is life. I know there's a possibility for sentence reduction for good time and that sort of thing, but I'm a little surprised that the sentence wasn't just life without the possibility of parole. I can't imagine what salve on his mind possibly getting out in his 90s might be. I guess the possibility of leaving prison at all is enough for some. But David Thomas McCann is on his way to state prison, where he will likely spend the rest of his natural life. San Francisco is going in a weird direction. I know, that's shocking. They're so normal, they're so steadfast. 36 square miles surrounded on all sides by reality. And the San Francisco Police Department has sought and received approval from the San Francisco Board of Supervisors to use existing police robots as potential deadly force options. The San Francisco Board of Supervisors signed off on this policy on a vote line of 8-3. The San Francisco Police Department must evaluate any situation where they consider this and try alternatives before they resort to lethal force. But that means that military-grade machines operated by trained officers could potentially kill suspects during critical incidents. Supervisor Raphael Mandelman supports using robots in specific life-threatening cases. Talked to KTVU. He said, "There's a lot of talk of RoboCop, which I think sets a lot of minds going to a lot of places. This is not that." The supervisor said he thinks it's totally appropriate. Quote, "In fact, I think it would be irresponsible not to make plans to use that technology in that horrific eventuality." Matthew Gariglia, a policy analyst with the Electronic Frontier Foundation, says it's really just opening a window that eventually somebody's going to want to crawl through. He says it doesn't make sense to give robots the ability to kill. One of his points of objection of this is that, quote, we're going to lessen the burden of using deadly force from having to pull a gun and pull the trigger to hitting a button on a remote control. Right now, the San Francisco Police Department has 17 robots. Currently, none of them operate with live ammunition, but the department is considering using a robot with explosives attached as a way to deal with violent armed suspects who may have barricaded themselves inside of something. The department said, while an explosive charge may be considered an intermediate force option, it could potentially cause injury or be lethal. Robots equipped in this manner would only be used in extreme circumstances to save or to prevent further loss of innocent life. Supervisor Hillary Ronan popped up saying she's beyond disappointed that the board seems poised to allow the police to use weaponized robots to use force against human beings. Only 4 of us were clearly against it. She calls it short-sighted and dangerous. And she says the spirit of the San Francisco she has always admired is weeping today. I could hear arguments from both sides on this, but I have to admit I am leaning out towards a no. I want to be clear. I don't want to place officers or the public in harm's way arbitrarily. I don't want the lives, the health, the safety of anybody to be in the hands of a violent criminal. As we see this technology continue to evolve, the potential for mistakes, the potential for erroneous deployment is actually going to grow, not shrink. And I've always been weary of the militarization of police. I understand that criminals, this isn't the 1950s. We aren't talking about the occasional bad guy roaming through town robbing banks here. We're living in a world where bad people seek to do harm to innocent victims every day. And I said earlier, I don't like slippery slope arguments. I really don't. I don't see this in the long run. I don't see this being a net positive for San Francisco. I would loudly discourage any other municipality from pursuing this. The room for error, the room for misunderstanding, the room for technical failure. Again, I don't want to put officers, I don't want to put innocents in harm's way. I hate the idea that these folks take their lives in their hands when they're dealing with some nut. And that's why I could be argued to the other side of this. But increasing our trust and our dependence on technology is, in my opinion, almost universally a mistake. And I have to admit, I'm stunned that this came from San Francisco. Of all of the communities on the West Coast, you would think that the city that effectively legalized petty theft and public drug use would hold back from the murder bots, and yet it wasn't even close. 8-3 from the Board of Supervisors approving this. What do you think? Should we be doing this in Fresno? Should this be a tool in our community? Or is this setting the stage for something right out of Black Mirror? I'll take calls on the other side. One segment for the phones at 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. Philip Teresi on the afternoon drive on KMJ.
Right now in Porterville, Avenue 184 at State Route 65, we have an injury accident there in Oakhurst near Bass Lake on Highway 41. At Road 425C, it's a hit-and-run non-injury accident. And near Layton, also on Highway 41 near Mount Whitney, another non-injury accident. Then in Madera on State Route 145 at Avenue 11, a hazard being reported in the roadway. Next update, 547. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Survivors of clergy child sexual abuse in California have limited time to seek justice. Survivors have until December 31st, 2022 to take legal action. Contact Jeff Anderson and Associates for a confidential conversation. Call us at 1-800-ITS-TIME. 12011 San Vicente Boulevard, Suite 700, Los Angeles, California. Attorney Advertising.
Inflation goes up. Do you feel like you need to refinance your car to fill up the gas tank? What if 2 years ago someone offered to sell you a lifetime supply of gas at $2.75 a gallon? But you told them no. Today, you would be kicking yourself. Right now, Planet Solar has that same offer for you on your electric bill. As inflation goes up, so does your utility bill. Lock in your energy prices today with a new Planet Solar system. Planet Solar is locally owned and operated in Clovis. They're big enough to offer you all the best brands and in-house financing, but small enough to give you the personal service you deserve. Call Planet Solar to find out how to lock in your electricity costs today. You'll be glad you did. Call them at 559-228-9245 or find them on the web at planetsolar.com. That's 228-9245 or planetsolar.com. License number 938313.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. CalHope can help. Access CalHope's free and secure mental health resources. Call 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org.
It's time for the Harris Construction 7th Annual Blanket and Coat Drive. Warm someone's heart this winter by collecting new or gently used coats and blankets for men, women, and children. Deliver your donation to any Harris Construction job site or to the office near Peach and McKinley by December 15th. Items will be distributed free of charge by Catholic Charities. From everyone at Harris Construction, thank you for your support of local families in need.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-600-5536. That's 1-800-600-5536. 1-800-600-5536.
Measure C needs you. Become a member of the Citizen Oversight Committee for Measure C and join other local leaders to help ensure that money for Fresno County's transportation systems is spent effectively and as promised to the public. Apply today at MeasureC.com.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now.
And unfortunately, I'm furious about what's going on, so I can't enjoy the call as much as I would otherwise.
The Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
All right, we got to lighten things up a little bit. I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was 2 months back, Hispanic Heritage Month. There was more than a little pushback against some of the comic book publishers because for Hispanic Heritage Month, they created special issues of comic books with covers acknowledging the season and featuring stuff like, I think one of them was the Green Lantern with a shopping bag full of tamales. There was another superhero hanging off the side of a building in heroic fashion, getting down with some tacos. And there was understandably a question of, do you realize Hispanic heritage isn't just the food? This isn't that exactly, but it made me think of that as soon as I saw the headline from the BBC. French baguette gets UNESCO heritage status. Not the beret, not the black and white striped shirt. The baguette. I have nothing bad to say about the food. Whole Foods actually does a great job. So does Max's Bakery, making very credible French baguettes. UNESCO has chosen this to add to its intangible cultural heritage list. The body, UNESCO, had announced that it added artisanal know-how and culture of baguette bread to a list of 600 other items, joining things like traditional tea making in China and a Korean mask dance known as the talchum, both included for the first time this year. UNESCO chief Audrey Assolé says the baguette celebrates the French way of life. It's a daily ritual, a structuring element of the meal synonymous with sharing and conviviality. I think that is a wonderful, romantic acknowledgement of this kind of universal symbol for entry-level French cuisine. I'm sure there's other stuff that UNESCO recognizes as essential to French heritage. I just laughed when I saw that it was the baguette who made the list this year. And the French, by the way, not upset about this. The reaction from the French is, well, yeah, of course, naturally. All right. I saw this chick in the news cruising around this morning, and KTLA was reporting on it appropriately as Annika Nadine Hustler attended her first basketball game at the Crypto.com arena Monday. She is a United States Marine Corps veteran. She lost her leg in a battle with cancer. And as a consequence of that, Miss Hustler wears a prosthetic limb. She is a below-the-knee amputee. And as the Laker game progressed, she ended up on the fan cam. And her way of celebrating her first game in person, watching the Lakers play, was to down a beer out of her prosthetic leg to the raucous cheering of everybody in the crowd. This was such a moment that the Associated Press carried it. She was ultimately named Fan of the Game, and they have got a brilliant picture of her after the game in the stands, big smile on her face, standing on her left leg, her right leg elevated, kind of resting on the back of a chair, holding this prosthetic limb that still has beer dripping from the lip over her head. This young lady, Annika, is prolific on Instagram. She goes by Annika the Amputee. She did share some pictures from the night, including a picture of the $100 gift card that she received for drinking out of her own leg. I love this kid. I want to get her on the show, Josh. If you can find her, Annika the Amputee, on Instagram. She does all the stuff that you expect from a cute chick on Instagram. But she also does some kind of interesting Q&A about being an amputee. And she talks about the vernacular of amputation and what's unilateral, what's bilateral, why it matters if you're above the knee, below the knee. She also has a riff on what to call and she's a beautiful woman, and she's a veteran, and she's a cancer survivor. What do you call somebody whose resume includes all of those bullet points, who's walking around? Oh, and by the way, not just on Instagram, but actually out in real life getting paid for it. She does some modeling. She's cute. What do you call somebody who's got that resume and who happens to have had a partial amputation of her right leg. Not differently abled, not handy capable. Annika was very clear. She says, I am disabled. Without my prosthesis, I cannot walk. The word for that is disabled. So she is also not a mushy-brained woke goofball who's poisoning America's minds with needless caution, talking about people who are in every conceivable way absolutely awesome. I'll post the story up so you can see it and see her, because the smile on her face after the game is it's worth the click. It's worth a minute of your time. So we've got a local restaurant that was named as one of the top restaurants in America. We'll talk about the survey. We'll talk about who else made the list and where you can go to experience something that is described here as iconic. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. A couple minutes left to play. Stick around.
All right, Fresno right now, if you're on southbound 41, anywhere between Herndon and Shaw, slow moving traffic. There's no accident. It's just slow and go. In Madera on State Route 145 to Avenue 11, caution there, furniture in the roadway. In Porterville, Avenue 184, at State Route 65, an injury accident and emergency personnel on the scene. Then Tulare, southbound 99 at West Cartmill, a hit-and-run, non-injury accident being reported. This report brought to you by Performance Auto Diesel and Air. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Hi, this is Julie Vogt with Roger Vogt's Performance Auto Diesel and Air, your dealership alternative, proudly serving the Central Valley for more than 46 years. We have the expert staff and diagnostic capabilities to take care of whatever type of vehicle you drive: gas, diesel, flex fuel, car, truck, SUV, RV, or motor coach. We're proud to be a AAA approved facility, a GM and Ford quality installer with a nationwide 2-year or 24,000 mile warranty program. From routine maintenance services to diagnostics and major repairs, even Titan auxiliary fuel tank installations. If you've even thought about a performance upgrade, ask for JJ, our performance expert. Air conditioning repairs and part sales? We do that. We offer a courtesy shuttle service. Vehicle pickup and delivery is also available. Call Rose and she'll happily take care of the rest. 635-3288. That's 635-3288. Roger Vogt's Performance Auto Diesel and Air. The best thing about living in Visalia.
Hi, this is Ron Johnson from Utah. After 10 weeks of taking Andro 400, I lost 13 pounds and my waist went from 36 to 33. That was 8 years ago. I continued to take Andro 400 and I've maintained my weight at 172. Gained muscle and energy. I'm 63 now and feel better than I have in 30 years.
Hi, this is Sherry. My husband started taking Andro 400 a few months ago, and wow, has he ever changed. He's no longer a couch potato, and he actually likes to go out and do things again. Best of all, he lost his gut, and is he looking good. All I have to say about that is...
Andro 400, the natural way to increase your testosterone. Guys, if you'd like to lose your belly fat, gain energy and muscle, and feel like you did years ago, try Andro 400, the safe, effective, and inexpensive way to boost your testosterone. Andro400.com.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention! If you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes by up to 99%. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-793-1525 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-793-1525. That's 800-793-1525. Again, 800-793-1525.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chancey Gold Resort and Casino.
Fed up with your water softener and its time-consuming upkeep? Tired of undrinkable water? A LifeSource whole house water system is your solution. LifeSource reduces hard water problems like softeners, but with LifeSource you get more. LifeSource reduces chemicals and contaminants for great water from all faucets, and there's no maintenance. For a limited time, LifeSource will pay your sales tax. Yes, zero sales tax. Call 559-330-1850 or lifesourcewater.com. LifeSource, taste and feel the difference.
KMJ Fresno. Everything that happens in Fresno's got to run the gauntlet at KMJ. It is such a blessing for you all to have what you have. It's been 100 years of communicating with your community. There's nothing like that for 1,000 miles.
And so ends our broadcast day.
Rolling up on 6 o'clock on KMJ, the great one, Mark Levin, is on the way after an update of headlines from the ABC newsroom. I am merely the adequate one. My name's Philip Teresi. Appreciate you hanging out this afternoon, and we will get to that restaurant story in just a minute. But I want to thank Spicoli, Joshua Weekly, and he who shall remain nameless, because I would never want to put it in your head that the program director of KMJ sent me this link. Based on true events. A new film currently in production, set for a February release. And I assure you, nobody else in all of talk radio is going to share this trailer with you.
Medic!
Oh, Jesus. What is that?
Beth, we should go.
Millions of dollars worth of cocaine fell from the sky this morning in Knoxville, Tennessee.
There's more of this out there. They dumped it somewhere.
I'm looking for my daughter.
Forest is a dangerous place.
Hey, Henry, check it out. Something got into it. A deer, maybe.
A lot of cocaine was lost. I need you to go and get it.
No, don't eat that, don't eat that. Let's see what kind of effect that has on
The bear. It did cocaine. A bear did cocaine.
There was a bear.
A bear?
It was.
Hey, that's inappropriate.
You're safe. Bears can't climb trees.
Of course I can.
Higher, baby. Get higher, baby.
It kind of seems like the thing that stays with a man forever.
Apex predator. High on cocaine. Out of its mind. Oh man, you
What's wrong with that bear?
Shoot it, man! Bear, speed up!
Higher, baby. And don't ever come down.
We have such good luck in nature.
February 24th, Cocaine Bear. I don't know if it's streaming. I don't know if it's going to a theater. I don't care. I'm buying tickets. That is the greatest thing produced by Hollywood since Avengers Endgame. That might be the best thing produced by Hollywood since Silence of the Lambs. What did it stupid, insane, bizarre premise. And I knew that when we heard the story of the bear getting into the jettisoned cocaine, that eventually somebody would make something out of it because it's such an insane premise. And I am thrilled that they found a way to produce a feature-length film about the cocaine bear. It looks so cheesy, so silly. And Joshua did a fantastic job removing as much profanity from that trailer as there was. It's not going to be a family-friendly movie because it's about a bear on cocaine. All right. We've got just a moment here before we get out of here. Restaurant Business, this is a trade publication, put out their top 100 independents list. This is a ranking of top independent eateries in the United States. And for the third time in as many years, one restaurant in the San Joaquin Valley ranked amongst the top 50 in the nation. Once again, Harris Ranch Inn and Hotel in Coalinga came in, this time at the 33rd position so far, their highest ranking on that top 100 list. Harris Ranch did almost $20 million in total food and beverage sales last year. I've been down there a couple of times this year, and they're absolutely right. It's fantastic. It is 100% worth the drive down to Coalinga. Congratulations to Harris Ranch for the recognition and to everybody who's put the time in there. Job well done. I got to go. Mark Levin is on the way, as is an updated headlines from ABC News. Before that, we'll hear from our friends at the Valley's Legends and Legacies, and I'll be back with you tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Have a great night.
Missed part of the show? Get the afternoon